Stand and recite the pledge of allegiance, remain standing for a moment of silence. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, for liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everybody. Okay, first thing is approval of the agenda, additions, corrections. Or additions, anybody make a motion?
Like make a motion. I didn't see anything wrong with it.
Someone second? Seconded, Scott, second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Approval of the minutes. Additions, corrections to the minutes. Right, good too.
Yeah, what I heard, I mean, about. I didn't see any problems with them.
All right, somebody make a motion to approve,
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from.
somebody second,
I'll second.
all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Approval of the bills, it's check 18,452 to 18,462 and EFT 56846 to 568,454 and 500,168 to 500,172. Can we make a motion to approve those?
I'll make a motion for the bills.
Second,
I'll second them.
all in favor? I oppose, motion carried. And we have Brandon Johnson from Bollig Engineering.
Bollig Engineering, yes. Thank you.
Won't keep you very long that way.
Yeah, I guess.
It always goes good at the beginning, but then the end
Yeah,
just lasts
yeah.
forever.
Well, hopefully it's not on my account.
Oh, no.
Got one. I'm Brandon from Bollig Engineering. I've talked to Sue a few times, ran into her at the clerks conference and we delivered a calendar here, stuff like that, so. She gave me the opportunity to come back and talk to you guys and just let you know who we are and what we do. And so I appreciate that. I understand you're working with an engineer currently, which is fine. So I went into several places where they are working with an engineer, you never get a call back, or possibly they want to switch, or just towns that are looking for something new or don't have one, so. So for Bollig Engineering, you can hit the next slide, Sue. We are designed for small cities, meaning we don't work in large towns. We're not in like Mankato, things like that, so. We only work in towns under 5,000, and actually 95 to probably 99% of our clients are under 1,000. Next slide. And so part of the reason for that is we know how to go after the money, things like that, and help the smaller towns come up with a strategic plan and how to fix their infrastructure the way they want it done. Bollig Engineering was started in 2007 by our owner, Brian Bollig. He worked for the city of Wilmer as an engineer and ended up doing kind of a little moonlighting for some of the smaller towns around the area and realized the need that they had, the small towns had for dedicated engineer that would primarily work in their interest. Since then, we're up to, well, it says 52. We're probably at about 56 people, but that includes engineers, architects. The big one is our funding specialists. We have a whole section just dedicated to funding. We're very aggressive at going after money, and whether it be grants. We'll get to one slide later, it talks about how much, but we try to formulate a plan with the city and get as much money as we can to complete whatever project they have going on or a future project they want to get started. Next slide.
Is there much money in Minnesota right now to be given out with a big deficit, loss of money and everything else?
So it's one of those things when one door closes, another door opens. So it just depends on what's going on at the time. And I know you're talking about like the bonding bill, and things like that. We don't let that discourage us. And even in the planning phases, let's say you had a whole street project that you know, you wanted to get done and it was depending on some money that was coming in. Well, maybe we project that out 2 years, right? And as we're looking at it, we'll be like, okay, we can't do it yet. We'll just hold off until this money comes forward. And then we'll apply that to whatever. And you know, when it comes through. So, and I'll show you our task orders that we have here in a little bit of how we operate and then how that would kind of break down on there. So if the money's not there right now, it doesn't mean we can't get it from somewhere else or strategically plan for it for when it is available. If that makes sense. This is we've gotten an award several times from the Professional Services Management Journal. And the updated one's not on there. We just got it again in 2024 for our service to municipal cities working on streets, sewer projects, things of that nature. Next. So our commitment to our clients, and I'll probably say this again at the end. If you reach out to the other clients and cities that we work for, they're honestly our best representation. So I even lean on Sue a little bit, like, well, you talked to other clerks at the conference and stuff like that. And she just said she talked to some people at some training last week. And I'm like, oh, I hope it's all good. So, and she said it was, but rather than me talking your guys' ear off all the time, I highly encourage. So even in those little pamphlets that I handed out, those are some of the cities that we've worked in and gotten a lot of funding for. So if you ever want to dig in a little more versus what I tell you, feel free to call those cities. But our commitment to you, relational, one is we don't charge for emails. We don't charge for phone calls. You don't get random billing if we say, look into something for you. Okay. Like, and you may find that in other engineers that won't say which ones or talk bad about any, but part of our task order agreement that we have details all the time what you would get billed for in a project. Before anything goes forward or you ever see any type of billing, you all would have to vote and approve on that. So resourcefulness, that comes down to our funding team. They dig in, they kick over every rock and looking for whatever grant money is available. And I'd love to tell you that we get all grants.
Yeah.
That's not the case, okay? There are some cities that we've gotten 100% grant money and some that, you know, only get 30%. It just depends. But on those avenues, it depends what the project is and what's going on out there. Like I said, if a bonding bill is passed, something like that. But we can always get loan money all the time and set up some type of program, whether it be 30, 40 years, depending on what it is and what it's for. But that's their job. And they formulate a plan, they present it to you. And if it doesn't look good, you're just like, no, we're not doing that. And that's where it lies. So reliable. We're very good at scheduling things, getting done on time, being here all the way through the process, and responsive. Like I said, we don't charge for emails or phone calls, but like my card that goes right to my cell phone. If I get emails or our funding team or engineers, we respond immediately. So
On projects, though, you would have a man here.
Yep.
From start to finish.
yep,
Somebody knows what's going on.
absolutely.
We went down that road before and they had a person here, but oof.
So that's where like my card, you know, if we ever end up working with you, where I like to see that stuff. And that's actually one thing I've tried to implement and have gotten through with Bollig, because just what you said, we don't hear about that unless somebody kind of investigates it or whatever, because every business is gonna have that guy, right? And so it turned out, I'm like, hey, our current clients, who's stopping in and talking to them and seeing like what's going on? Are they happy with their project manager? Are they happy with their engineer? things like that. So that's kind of my forte. I don't really like the salesman stuff of this. I like all the follow-on that I get to come back with the engineer, go through the project and check on sites as they're going through and being part of the process. So that, that's kind of my commitment to that, is making sure that you always have a direct line to that project or whoever's on site. Like, I can take care of that. So part of the strategic planning, the first thing, if we came on, whether it's down the road or whenever, if we sign on with a task order agreement, our task order number one is a full needs assessment. That's when I would come back with an engineer, go through your city, talk to Eli, and go around and see everything that you have. And then we talk to you, any input you want to put in. Well, my priority is this street down here because it always gets water in it. Okay, we'll write that down, take all that stuff. And we try to put together a list of your priorities. And then we go back, and it's a big process, but it takes about a month. Our engineer will go back, still dig through all of that. Also, he hands it off to our funding team. They go through, try and find out where money is available, when it's coming available. And then we come back and present our findings to you, see what you think, and try to go from there. Up to that point, you've spent no money at all. And then if they were gonna go forward with something, it would be detailed in another task order. And that pretty much sums up the other two things on there too, but next slide. Some of these kind of double up, so I'll skip through them a little bit, but Sue, you can take a copy of these if you really want at the end. Next. All right, so part of our engineering is with the needs assessment. That's our comprehensive engineering. They go through, look at all your projects. Our grant writing, our funding specialist handles all the grant writing. So nothing gets pushed back here onto the city. They take care of everything when they put that in a package, and you all see what it is and what comes from where, every dollar, where it's getting spent, where it's coming from, and stuff like that. So, and then our agency advocacy is, we go talk to a lot of the different lobbyists and, senators, things like that. We have a direct line to them to make sure, like, if we have a engineering report up there, that it stays in the queue or moves up if it can, anything like that. Next slide. All right, so I don't know if you guys can see that because this was a picture one, so.
Yeah. Oh, there you go.
So just some examples of some of the cities that we've worked in and things that we've gotten for them, right? So the city of Florence, they needed $764,000 for their project. We got 100%. Hey, victory.
How big a town is Florence? I guess 1,500, 1,200, 800?
I was gonna
Very
say
small.
600 or 800.
Yeah, that's what I thought. It's very small.
Yeah. We're in towns as low as 50 people, all the way up to, to the 5,000, but most of them, like I said, are under that 1,000. But, Clarkfield, they needed 14.8 million. They only got 31% of that in grants. All right, because there's a lot of different things that steer grants. What's the medium to low income in the town? How much debt does the town have right now? Do they have a cash surplus? Is it a project that is fundable? A lot of times they want to rebuild a fire hall or a city hall. Not a lot of money out there for that. We do it, but there's not a lot of grant money for it. So it just depends.
They had $10 million there to finance. So how long a period did a town like that finance that?
They can do it for up to 40 years. It just depends it depends what the loan is. Some loans are 40, some are 30.
Yeah.
And then it's going to depend on, what the council decides they want to do. And that'll go back and forth with our funding people, like, okay, what do you want to do? Are you replacing water meters? Are you going to raise your water rates to cover down on some of this? I'm just saying, there's 100 different avenues, and ultimately it's your decision. So nothing gets pushed on you and like tries to, twist your arm into doing this or that, but.
We replaced all of our water meters, and
Okay,
I'm very conservative. It was like $100,000+ and I thought it was a lot of money now. Between this guy and that guy now, we can go to that house across the street.
Yeah.
And they can pinpoint a problem like right now.
yep.
So I mean, it's very good investment for the city.
Mhm.
We had a couple individuals that their water kept going up. And they talked to them and they must have found a leak in the house because now it went back down again,
Yeah.
Yeah.
First they blame the city, though.
Investment, and there's a lot of that stuff, and I mean, let's face it, nothing's cheap anymore. I mean,
No.
you try to do a major project in a town, I mean, you could be 5 million, 1.5 million, 15 million, it just depends on what it is. Okay, next slide.
The interest rate was. Is it federally funded or?
Yeah. So one of our towns, Bruton, this is just a breakdown rather than from the last slide, but just over the years that we worked with them. And so just the number of projects, what it costs and how much of each thing was, or the total of projects that year were funded by grants. So not every year did they get all of it, but I mean.
They did pretty good.
Decent chunk, right?
Yeah, well, almost.
2012, obviously a good year.
Yeah.
But, and then 2019, well, maybe not so much, only got 30%.
There's nothing wrong with
But again,
15 and 16.
yeah, again, you know about that at the time. So you know what is gonna be put on the city. And like I said, you never get any random billing for asking us to look into something or anything like that.
For a town that size, what were they doing all that there? Them, each year they had something.
They pretty much replaced the whole infrastructure of that town. I mean.
Most of that street projects.
And that's why it's got so many years and so many
Okay.
projects on it. I mean, it was a ton of stuff.
Oh, okay.
Next slide. All right, so this is just kind of our average and I was told that this is actually 66 now. But in recent years, we applied for we received over $140 million in total funding. It was 64% of total grant money for all those projects. And then the rest we went through in different types of loans, things like that. Next. And we kind of already covered that, just what we do, drinking water, streets, wastewater, stormwater, water resources. We also do airports.
I hope you don't design them bump outs.
Yeah, we don't want none of those.
They're the dumbest thing I've ever seen.
Sometimes we don't have a choice on what gets put in, but like, that's not my idea and I am not an engineer, okay, so.
Yeah. I was in
But,
downtown Mankato today and I watched an old guy. He went over that at 30 miles an hour. Wow.
okay.
Right down by the-
Controversial topic here,
Blue Earth County.
and maybe, I don't know what his opinion is on it, but roundabouts. So, okay,
Yeah.
well,
Jay-
MnDOT says you will do this.
Yeah. J turns too. Have you been through here in Lake where they put that J turn? And that
Yeah.
whole big thing? Every truck going westbound says 60 and they're slamming on their brakes like 60 is gonna turn around. No, that's if you're going eastbound.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's right there where they're all entering the highway and it's quite a cluster.
Oh, yeah.
Not fun for semis.
Well, I mean, it's
J-turns
just
is-
Yeah,
stupid.
some just got put in by my house too, and so my brother-in-law is the city manager. Randall, Minnesota is.
Yeah.
Okay, they just put in J-turns there. Because the 3 intersections that they had, they basically broke it down to 2 and put J-turns in there. They've had several accidents there, including fatalities, so that was their solution. I am not on side one way or the other. I do not care, but I've heard, yes, all the arguments of the people who do not like the J-turns, so. But, so yes, J-turns, that's a MnDOT thing, the roundabouts. So I'm working in Pillager, Minnesota right now. And, we just signed up with them, and they were told, you will get this roundabout here. And they are just furious about it. But it's happening. So what we're trying to do is at least get in front of it, help mitigate some of the cost. And even though we're kind of behind on getting there, but we're helping them understand what's happening. We look at all the stuff One of our engineers used to work for VinDOT. He has no pull there or anything like that, but he understands the language and things like that. So that kind of helps as a buffer for that city and hopefully get that project done with the least amount of pain as possible. So, and that's our goal. That's our goal all the time, is to help the city with their needs and what they want to get done. And, you know, if MnDOT steps in every once in a while, well, we'll try and soften the blow as much as possible.
That's what they're doing in Lake Crystal right now,
Okay.
putting in some J turns. I don't think there's enough real estate over there to get that done. You know, but
Yeah.
the state pushes it through.
Well, they'll just take the real estate. I mean, they'll find it.
Yeah.
They say they're not making real estate anymore, but I don't know. Seems like MnDOT. So. Let's see, I think one more. Yeah. So. I just want to leave these with you guys. These are our task order agreements.
We are kind of involved right now in redoing our water and filtration and that, and looping some water lines and stuff like that. This is our water facility right across the street. There's a well in there, does what, 65, 70 gallons a minute, maybe, on a good day?
The big well puts out almost 400 gallons a minute, but the old
Yeah.
well is about 60.
Yeah, so, you know, then we bought a piece of property a block away. It's with that will qualify for another big wellhead. So you being in this business, would we be better off to take and build a new structure down there? Tear this one down, or are you better off to rehabilitate this one?
So possibly, I am not smart enough to tell you, you know, oh yeah, I'll just design this over here. I'm not the engineer guy, right? The other thing is what works best for you, right? Like, hey, if you want to write an open check, we'll design and build anything you want. you
Yeah.
know? But we don't really work that way. So we would like to come in, if we did that, and we'd look at your lot, we'd look at that, and the funding team would look and see what kind of money's out there to build a new facility, things like that. So it can give you more of an educated answer than just, yeah, we'll build you a new one, you know?
We're
As
very,
much as I'd love to say that.
we're very fortunate. This guy here had 30+ years in it, Pepsi, and he made the water down there. And he has a lot of knowledge of how we could do this over here, you know? You can have them self-contained things, what they call, Brent? Where you,
Like pressure filter with.
yeah, pressure filter, and because we have a fan filter now.
Fans.
And so, and that's the thing, when I come back with a needs assessment, I mean, that's the guy we want to talk to, and we want your input on those things so that the engineer can go back, reach out and do his job, plus have the funding team go out and do their job, so that when we do come back and talk to you, be like, this is what we found for you. You know, and go from there. So, like, I would love to tell you, yes, we'll just take your recommendations and build you a new facility. Here's the bill. We really want to, it's more of a partnership than anything, you know, and we'd rather get your input and make sure that you're happy at the end of the day. Because when somebody like Sue goes to clerk conferences, or you guys go to rural water or something like that, what do you guys do there when you're off? You know, when you're walking around, what do you do at the clerks conference with the other clerks? You talk about engineers, you talk about services in your town. And I sure don't want to be the guy that's like, oh, avoid that guy. Don't go talk to their company. And so far, we are very good at not having that reputation. Our reputation, if you talk to the other clerks in the towns that we've worked in, they're like, we really like working with Bollig Engineering. They go after and they find a lot of money for us, solutions for their projects, solutions for whatever problems they have at the time. So,
Your closest store to us then is Wilmer, right?
Sioux Falls might be closer.
That's 150. Wilmer'd be about, what, 105 or so, 110? You got one,
But we have engineers and operators that live down here.
okay,
Yeah,
okay.
they're all over. We kind of, not a lot of people go to the office, especially on a Friday.
Imagine that.
Well, my office is my pickup, so it doesn't really matter, but yeah, so anyways, the task order agreement, what that does is go in and says, hey, we're officially named your engineer. That way, if we go and search for stuff at the state, we can say we're on behalf of them. And goes through, it's got all the legal jumbo on there. It signs you on for 5 years, but right below that, I don't want you to get caught up in 5 years. That's just so we don't have to redo stuff all the time. It says, if you're ever unhappy with our service and you don't want us around anymore, all we ask is for 7 days to pick up our stuff and get out, and that's in there as well. It doesn't bind you to anything.
How does that work now, though, that we've already taken some steps to upgrade our stuff and our current engineer has invested some time and
It depends on what you wanna do. We've done it several different ways. So there's been a current project going on in a town and they're like, well, we just wanna finish this project out with such and such. And then we'll look at moving on. Okay, fine. There was another one, I don't even wanna say the name of the town because I don't wanna start having people bad talk to their engineers, but they weren't getting the attention that they wanted. They had a PER engineering request at the state level. And they just weren't getting the attention that they wanted. In fact, after they signed on with us, the engineer that was working on that went to engineering school with one of our engineers that got tasked to work in that town. And he's like, hey, I got a bone to pick with you. And he's like, oh yeah, I bet you're talking about this town, huh? He's like, yeah. He's like, well, that really sucks. I get it. Business is business. He goes, we're gonna use that town for filler work this year. And I was like, filler work? Cause they're a big engineering firm. They don't have time for the little people. And it's like, well, that's not how we operate. Our clients are our priority. So at that particular instance, we gave them a termination letter for the city to send that engineer. And they terminated him. We took over the PER and did not lose our spot. In fact, we rewrote it and moved it in above that one at the state level. And they have $36 million worth of needs. Well, and we're in the middle of getting them funding. We got them a loan for a project they needed to get started for $15 million. It was already approved a month ago.
Do you have staff with expertise in water treatment?
Yes.
And
Yep.
you do.
Yeah, because water treatment, the operators, all of that stuff. And
So they'd be knowledgeable in reverse osmosis, pressure filtration, all those sorts of things.
Yep. In fact, one of our operators lives down in this area. And what happens is, you guys are fortunate, you got 2 of you on staff, right? But I know you're kind of 1 foot out the door, I understand.
1 1/4.
One and a rookie. One and a rookie.
I'm a liability.
But some of the small towns have a really hard time keeping their operators are on staff or getting an operator that's fully qualified.
That'd be a guy.
Yeah,
So with us, we've been able to bring in our operator, help cover down, help assist the city, because maybe you find the right candidate that you want to hire for the job, but he just doesn't have the experience. But you can get him trained. We can help with the process of that. And
we got the operator
cover down.
covered. It's just
Yeah, I'm
to
just
make sure
saying
that the
for-
engineer has the expertise that we're looking
Yep.
for designing and implementing and starting up a water treatment facility, because that's huge.
Yeah.
Can go haywire 20 different ways, like an Amboy. And then just the small project that we just did out there was some phosphorus treatment at the pond. I was extremely dissatisfied with the way that went, because the project got bid and then that got subbed out and it got subbed out. And
Yeah.
instead of Vesco sales, we get some really irritating person who came down there, and instead of a finished chemical cabinet, we had one that they made that you had to hold it up with your head.
Yeah, it's terrible.
And
It was pretty.
sharp edges, unistruts, not even sticking this way and that. And what the engineer told me was that we just engineer the job. It's up to them to figure out how to implement it. As long as it works in the end, that's what we do. And I was like, no, you need to make sure that I, as the customer, I'm happy with what kind of work
100%.
you're putting for us. And I shouldn't have to sign off. And then a little bit I'm getting mad, but a little bit of information, a little bit of information along the way.
Yeah,
So that when the tank shows up and you've got a 2-inch inlet, you're supposed to have a 6-inch vent. you got it 3 times the size of the inlet and have 2 inch in, 2 inch out. And I brought that to their attention. I was like, oh, that'll work. You know, and things like that, it just.
That one really went south, you know.
Yeah.
That was engineered.
So
You know,
I'm gonna tell you that. I wanna tell you that our engineers or anybody would not be like that. Like I said, you always get that one guy, but. That's why I said my card is here and we have a direct line where you don't just get the engineer to come in and not talk to anybody else. You
Right.
have me here, you have the engineer here, you have the funding department there. And at the end of the day, it's not hard to go onto the website and find Brian Bollig's email.
We all met down there before this project started, you know, because we want to put a little building around it. We want to put the metering machines inside a building, you know. Well, we ran out of time last year, you know. Well, the first thing the engineers wanted to do was take this old electric box, you know, that's served there for quite a few years, but it's in good shape. And just tear it all out and start completely over. Where all you got to do is turn the box out and mount it on the inside of the wall of your building. And it could probably serve this community another 25, 30 years and just fine. But they always want to brand new because they get paid by the amount of money.
So we don't like inventing work or creating work or
There
anything
you go.
like that. What I would tell you is if there was something on that priority list or maybe something they seen. And then the funding department came back and it was, say, 6 months, a year later, whatever. Hey, I know you guys don't need them. You said you're happy with these circuit boards or just name the thing, right? And we'd say, we've got 100% grant money to cover that, or 80% or whatever. Do you want to do something like that? And you would either say yes or no. If you said yes, you would get the following task order. This one's for the needs assessment, but it details what you pay. This one says nothing. Well, let's say it was for that, it would detail, hey, we got 100% grant money for X, Y, and Z. Whatever the number may be, the city of good, yeah, that's fine.
We got 2. Everybody got one?
You
Want one?
There you go.
You should put it on in the field.
Yeah.
You know what it looks
I
like.
know I should want to save a tree, but. So in that instance, like I get it, you know, maybe somebody's opinion is a little bit different on, you know, what the need is, but it's your city. We are very high on that. It's your city. You make that decision. If an engineer comes in here and wants to replace a bunch of stuff, well, hopefully you either settle them down or call me and we'll get it straightened out. But if it isn't something you want to do, we're not doing it.
We switched engineers one time, I don't know how long, it's gotta be 8, 10 years ago. We hired some from Wyndham, I believe it was. And they come out and put a good show on, but when we hired them for a year, but never heard none of them. So we went back to where we were.
Okay.
Bolton and Mink,
Sure.
you know,
Well,
and some of the things that's happened over the years, I've been at this job 30-some years. And some of the things. Yikes,
yeah.
common sense goes a long ways.
So I try to be as sincere as I can. Like I said, I don't like doing the salesman thing. I like the after the fact, after I'm already working with you. But it's part of the job, you know, and I do the job. I'm retired military, so I don't really need the job, but I like after this point, that's the part I really enjoy is helping out the towns. And kind of the way I started this, and hopefully Sue can attest to this, is you don't have to take my word for it. I would highly encourage you to reach out to some of our current clients and see what they think.
Earlier, Mayor Anderson asked you kind of about the project and what you do. Is it possible to have 2 engineering firms
So-
give you bids? Or how do you enter into a project knowing if you do have the right one or?
It would most likely be one or the other. It would be, you would finish out with them and we take over the other stuff.
Well, we haven't even really started. We're just nosing into it, but it just,
Okay,
I mean, it's no different than going to 2 dealers to buy a car. I mean,
Yeah.
you got 2 different cars. Are you gonna get 2 different bids?
yeah.
Can you get bids? Can you get
Uh,
ideas? Can you get?
So normally we're not gonna like bid against them on the water tower or whatever, but it's not like buying a car. You're more like signing up for a service.
Right. Okay.
So,
So with the funding, so your grant writer, are those grants? I'm assuming most are within the state of Minnesota,
I mean, some are federal.
some are federal.
But it just depends what's out there. And I mean, every year stuff changes.
Right.
But I mean, they will look after for everything. And it's not one of those things where you have to reach out to them and say, hey, I heard about, it's great if you want to. I mean, but I heard about this grant. Oh, sure, yeah, we'll look into it. They're already looking into it. Trust me, they're looking into it. And that it was explained to me by the owner. He's like, look, there's a lot of engineering firms out there and a lot of them will do funding and grant writing. But we're more of a funding and grant writing agency that does engineering. That's more of the difference where we're at. And he truly does believe in helping out the small cities. Like he has a passion for it and that's our niche. And that's why we have a good reputation.
Writing grants is an artwork, so.
Oh, yeah. Yep, and the ones we have are very good at it.
Warren Olson is our representative. He's from Elmore, wasn't he? He was the mayor of Elmore or something for a while, right? And anyway, he was here, was it last summer or was it?
Last summer.
And he was talking about all the funding, you know. Well, that surplus is like, are we all hearing the news is pretty much gone, so. We just kind of wonder like, wow, how long will it ever be able to take to get that kind of money surplus back in the state? So they do help out small towns.
Yeah, well, even the stuff that they said wasn't happening, they're voting on it like currently. I don't even really pay attention to it because when it comes to the news, I believe they are with the theory of if it bleeds, it leads. They don't tell you about the good stuff. Right, so if any time that the funding gets turned back on, that will be at the end of the news segment when they're talking about somebody's golden retriever down the street too.
Just a little bleep.
Yeah,
Yeah. Mhm.
Well, they had to show up for work first.
and that's true too.
Yep.
Yeah, it's scare tactics. I mean, on that stuff, yeah, maybe something isn't approved. There is no absolute on some of those things where it's like, well, we were dependent on this grant money. So if you're ever worried about, like, we put in a task order that say it was 50% grant money and the bonding bill didn't get passed, that you're on the hook for that other 50%. That is not how it works. And we'll find a solution. If we have to, we'll redo another task order.
Did you see that last year that there was a decline in the funding through the state of Minnesota for small towns? Cause it started last year already, really. You know.
Yeah, they get a little worried about it, but I mean, it's.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean. It's still there. They shut it off, they turn it on. They shut it off, they turn it on. I mean, it's, because they can't just hoard the money. The money gets redistributed back out one way or another eventually.
Politicians just print more.
And part of our planning and stuff is to get that stuff out there soon enough. So, you know, when it does turn on, you have a project in the queue and you're ready. The worst thing somebody can do is wait till the money's ready and then start the
Yeah.
planning,
Yeah.
because then you're not gonna get any of it.
Right.
No,
They're like, well, you're not ready for your project.
Yeah.
And we've heard that from some of the other towns that we went into. You're not ready yet. Well, then we take over and we start submitting stuff, submitting plans, things like that. All of a sudden, oh, okay. They're ready. They can get this money.
This for 2 years. Nothing's done. Reality.
Okay.
All right. Well,
Anyhow,
sounds good. Yeah.
yeah, so if you have any questions or anything like that, feel free to reach out to me. You said that card that goes right to my cell phone. The office number goes to Wilmer, but otherwise you can reach me by cell. If you ever want me to come back or want to move forward or anything like that, I mean, love to have you guys as a client.
Well, just like we entered into agreement with our current engineers last summer, right? About expanding. Well, I mean, they're exploring the options, right?
Well, all they did was fill out the paperwork and submit it to the state for the bonding at 10.5 or 10.3.
Yeah.
Yeah, they haven't really designed anything other
The
than.
preliminary drawing.
Yeah, their little
Somewhere.
preliminary drawing is all they've done.
Okay, so there wasn't ever be anything for them to report back to us monthly anyway right now, because basically nothing's happening.
Well, yeah, because they were out last month and talked about getting put on that. They had to redo the PPL, I think it was.
Yeah, we had to do something, yeah.
Yeah, we got a bill for like $500 for them.
For them to redo it. Interesting.
You know, every time I see those bills, I get angry.
Well.
Oh.
Like I said, if you get a bill from us, you already do what it was. And it was already voted on.
So then if they were to switch, being that we have that, it's in the Senate, I think it only had one reading so far from the last time I checked. That wouldn't be an issue to switch then, because they really haven't done much. They
We
really
did it
haven't
before.
done anything.
We did it before. We took that spot in line and actually moved it up farther and got projects rolling.
So if they switch, is that something that you guys handle as far as,
We will
Or how
drop
does
a
that work?
template if you really wanted to go forward and do a termination.
Mhm.
We can give you a sample letter of that termination and basically have it all filled out, waiting for your guys' signature, and you can send it off to them.
Well, we always need to keep our options open.
Absolutely.
Or, you know, like you say, you're here for smaller towns. Our current engineers, they're into big towns, you
Yep.
know, and big stuff. And do we get set off on the side when we're doing a project? Don't know. We don't
I'm
know.
not gonna badmouth them and say that, but
Yeah.
what I can tell you is we only work in small towns.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yep.
For your time.
thank you.
Yep.
Yes. Here's your flash drive.
Thank you.
All right, we'll move on to community comment.
Everyone.
Thank you.
Yep.
Anybody with comment? Sheriff's Department, we're fortunate tonight to have Deputy Hagan here. So if we have any questions for the Sheriff's Department, we can get them answered directly tonight. Andrew, have at it. How's it going in Good?
Oh, yeah, how's your experiences been?
Pretty quiet?
Good,
Well, thank
That's
you
good
for that.
us.
Mhm.
yeah,
And good for you.
where is all that stuff here? It is.
Any ordinance violations? I know we went over this with the new sheriff that time. What kind of ordinance and violations can you or will you guys enforce? I know you won't do dog barking.
Well, and that's, but I mean, it's public nuisance at that point, with the dog
Yeah.
barking. I mean, if someone calls, said, hey, the neighbor's dog is barking, yeah, we'll come down.
Okay, so here's an example. If you have a car sitting in your in your yard, it's supposed to be currently licensed. Is it supposed to be insured? Does anybody know that? John, do you know? I don't know if it's supposed to be currently insured, but
There's no statute that requires
okay, but they're supposed to have a current license.
Tap,
So if you were driving around,
tap, sorry.
that.
Direct.
It's gotta, I believe your ordinances have to be like drivable maybe.
okay, so if
One
you,
of those lines.
if you're driving around and you happen to see some cars sitting in a yard with no tags, no nothing. Do we need to tell you to act on that or can you just act on that?
So I spoke with Captain Barta and he told us that the sheriff's office is not going to be doing that kind of an ordinance enforcement with
Okay.
like junk vehicles, nuisance, garbage in the yards. And that's why I came here, because I put together a pack or some information of how Mapleton does it,
Yep, okay,
where it's done through the city.
It's more,
Campo is also looking at doing it that way, because right now they just have a council member and city clerk. Well, send letters and look for voluntary compliance. There's also an ordinance that Mapleton instituted in there that it's an option for administrative penalties.
so when Mapleton does this, do they get their current lawyer involved too in
Their
enforcement?
lawyer, or their city attorney.
Attorney.
Would have would have gone through the ordinance.
Okay, because I mean, No, I mean, you know, we've been after is, I mean, just that way.
I'm aware.
And, you know,
There's a
there's,
couple more in Maine.
there's like 9, if not 12 cars around that house.
Mm-hmm.
The city,
What is-
us, should not be allowing that.
What is your ordinance, like 4 vehicles on a property?
I guess I'd have to, is it even that, or is it 4 or 2?
I don't think it says, it does, that's pretty silent there, but definition of inoperable vehicle. It shall be unlawful to keep, park, store, abandon any motor vehicle that is not in operating conditioning, partially dismantled for repairs or parts. Salvage licensing tabs are expired longer than 90 days.
So Mapleton's got an ordinance where they only allow 4 vehicles on a property.
There's a vehicle on jack stands on a sidewalk.
Yeah, I just seen that last night.
Yeah, we saw
I
it
haven't seen
yesterday.
that
I mean, now that's a public sidewalk. Can you stop there and say you're in violation?
I could, yeah, something like that where it's impeding the sidewalk.
Yep.
And I get calls, you know, Sue will send me emails quite regularly.
When you leave, you just take and drive that way until you can't go any
Sure.
farther and take a right and be the first place on your left.
Okay.
And it's sitting on jack stands on the sidewalk. I seen that last night and it's like, wow, really?
I mean, it's something that's a little different. That's different than just like a, you know, like the car in Chapel and anyway, straight south there, where the car's just been sitting in the yard for years.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's something where someone is gonna take a picture. They'll draft a letter, send them the letter, and hopeful for voluntary complaint. Either,
Yeah, they've tried.
you know, and if they don't, well, then you move on to the next step.
It's the same yard that we offered a free service a couple weekends ago. And the yards look the same. They never took advantage of cleaning up the yards, you know. There's so much stuff in some of the backyards, they can't mow their grass. So that's another problem later on in the summer. The grass is a foot tall, but there's so much junk laying around, they don't even attempt to do that.
Do you guys have an ordinance for lawn mowing?
Yep, it's only like 6 inches, I believe, isn't it?
That's something
Where
about
the
I
city-
like
where
that.
City staff will go in after, you know, a certain time distance, because Mapleton does the same thing. It's like $120 an hour and the minimum 2 hours, and they go in and they mow.
Well, what's happened in the past is, oh yeah, they just sends a letter, but they never do nothing, so they never even attempt to do one thing.
So that's, you know, the voluntary compliance is
And-
working, so now have to have that administrative penalty. So if you look in there, you know, that's something where you guys would have to set administrative penalty.
When you talk
for
administrative
frequency
penalty, you're talking about telling them that if this is not done
into
and there's a
it,
fee done,
you know, like.
the amount will be placed on your taxes.
If they do not pay it.
Yeah.
So Mapleton will send them an invoice, say this is your fine.
Yep.
If you don't take care of it, if you don't pay it, it just right on your back.
Yeah.
Here's another question, a house that has like 30 cats in it and no one's living in there. The house was vacated last week. Who should we call to deal, these animals are still in there?
The sheriffs were out there, the
Who-
person passed away. And
Well,
then,
I think Chuck Shooty still lives there,
no,
Next
on the
house
next
over.
one down.
next to Chuck, okay,
Chuck's well alive and well.
Yeah.
Yeah, the other person passed.
okay.
His neighbor.
There was 2 deputies there plus some investigators.
Yep, I'm aware of that.
And last night, there was 7 white cats looking out the window. They're in the
Is
house.
she the property owner? Or was she the property owner?
Well, Saturday night, there was an individual there serving papers. Because Chuck happened to walk up to that guy and he said, well, I'm here to serve papers. And he goes, well, she just died. So I don't know what that was about.
I'd have to look into it, like who owns the property? Was she renting it?
Yeah.
Well, I think she was losing it.
No idea.
Does she have family that we could call, hey, come take care of the cat?
Well, I think the sheriff's dealt with the daughter also.
Okay.
And she has a sister that lives 200 feet away.
Well, there was,
I wasn't working when that happened, so I don't know all the full details.
According to Chuck, she can't get in the house to feed the cats either.
they were feeding the cats through the window. the other night.
Well, they were,
Wondering if
Standing
that,
outside dumping, yeah, food in.
that animal control or
And
something?
that, yeah, I can't take cats. I got nowhere to put cats.
You know.
Potentially call the Humane Society.
yeah, the humane, can the sheriff's department order humane society because the individual is deceased, there's nobody to take it over. I mean, that's not the city's job, is it?
It could potentially be, like, if you had.
We'd like to dedicate that to you.
If it had to, if it had to, like, if it had to be condemned, but if it's owned by the bank, well, then it becomes the bank's problem. If she was in foreclosure,
Well, that's, I don't know. That's what I
Hearsay
heard.
it was.
Pardon?
The hearsay was.
That's
So
right.
then how do you get that information? I mean, if we went out and tried to say, as a city, can they get that information? I mean,
Yeah.
it's private, isn't it?
not if it's gone into foreclosure, there's usually.
Well, it was supposed to go up for sheriff's auction this week, I believe, is what it was. So is there a place we can look on the sheriff's website that would tell us that, hey, yeah, it was?
Look and see
Yeah.
if there was like a sheriff's sale and like.
Well, it was supposed to be, but then she passed away, so.
That, I don't know.
But again, we're stuck with cats and, or somebody is. And I mean, we can't even get properties cleaned up now. We gotta worry about feeding cats.
I mean,
So
and do we have a number? Is there a number of how many cats, how many dogs you can have?
According to the fire chief, there's like 28 of them in there. Was.
In the ordinance? No, I don't believe so.
So,
We have a
Another
limit.
thing.
I think there's a limit of 3 or 4 dogs.
so again, in Mapleton, they have a limit of 5 animal units. So you could have 5 dogs, you have 5 cats,
2 and 3, man.
it's just animal units.
Okay, because that brings me to another place that has way too much, right?
Mhm.
Yep. Wow.
I'm sure yeah, he's probably looking.
So in other words, we're all, the city is all on our own to adopt something like this and use our city attorney.
The city attorney would be just to verify that you're not gonna get jammed up on other issues. It's gonna pass constitutional muster, like if someone were to bring it to the judge, he's gonna say, yep, you're fine, this is,
Within your rights.
yeah. Because it also, there's, I don't know if it shows in there, there is a process for due process. Or someone were to contest it, they can come before a panel, which includes the city council or a council member and someone from the community or something else. So that they can contest the fine or contest, hey, I need more time or something like that, this, whatever ordinance violation.
Yeah, because there are examples here of ordinances. Boy, I mean, you just read through those, we can,
We have some of those already
We can-
ready. We just have to go to the public hearing on them. The nuisance property.
I mean, even just the way they have them written down, I like, it sits there and it talks about discarded machinery, appliances, auto parts. You
And
know,
that's just general language.
yeah,
I mean, that's,
but put it in there. It's pretty broad, pretty wide, pretty straight to the point.
and that's like the letter he sends to the citizen is,
Yeah.
this is what.
Inoperable,
What
abandoned.
if the
junk
citizen
motor
thinks
vehicles,
that's lawn decoration or whatever?
Lawn
I know what you're
decorating.
talking about.
I know it, yeah, you know, probably know
Down
it.
there where they sued and understands they won.
Oh, I didn't know that.
You have to contact your city attorney to make sure that the ordinance covers something like that. Used unoperable farm equipment or something like that.
Plus tires that have been laying in a pile for a year.
Yeah,
I know your ordinance covers tires, because it's a public file or whatever you want to call it, hazard.
yeah, harbors,
Well, it's a good place for mosquitoes to
yeah,
Mosquitoes,
start to,
mosquitoes, mice, whatever,
Hmm.
anything can,
Rats.
rats.
so would you expand this to put in, say, we have houses and maybe other properties there's nobody lives in and the squirrels are crawling in and out of the soffit?
I believe your ordinance already covers that.
Okay, so how about a building going in despair or falling apart?
At a certain point, if is it unoccupied?
Yes.
probably have to go through the condemnation process. And then you could knock it down. Or you can see if somebody, the other,
Want to buy it or,
yeah,
yeah,
Refurbish it, put it to good use.
Well, that was the theory behind it.
Yeah.
you'd have to figure out who owns it, what are their plans? Are there no plans?
well, you know,
If you
the,
could start going after them with, building appearance, because I know you have an ordinance for building appearance.
there's things going on by the end of this week, might know more about it, but again, then if nothing happens, I mean, somewhere along the line, we gotta start enforcing because could be rodent problems crawling in through the walls, and I know there is down at that house. So, I mean,
Seen the animals going around,
It might be worth you checking with like Elmore, because I know in the last couple of years, they have knocked out a number of houses that
Oh,
were
really?
abandoned. So that might be an option to check with how they're doing it.
we don't have a building inspector in Good Thunder, but we have Judge Schultz that inspects rentals.
Yeah,
So maybe, I don't know, would he get involved in a house to declare it uninhabitable anymore and deem it to be?
We wouldn't have access to like any of those on how, I mean, they're not ours, but the one is definitely gonna fall in on itself at some point.
Yes, absolutely.
We would just have to go through, I think, the process to condemn it, then raise it, and then figure out with Kennedy or whoever city attorney is to how to get that onto the owner's property insurance, but because it's still gonna be their property, it's just we're gonna take down the house.
you may have to look into some ordinance that would cover something like that. I don't know if the ordinance.
I think Kennedy told us that it could get really expensive because we might have to take down on our dime or something like that.
Yeah, we'd have
Oh,
to
yeah,
fund
yeah.
it. We'd have to fund it.
It would, but again,
If you can
we can't
reclaim it.
keep allowing all this stuff to
Just go to.
look the way it is.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not fair to the person next door that keeps a spick and span spotless house.
And then the other option too, because like if they don't take care of it with these administrative fines, you can do an abatement, but it does cost money because you're gonna have to have the city attorney draft an order that's signed by a judge that allows you to go onto the property and remove and rectify whatever the issue is.
Well, we offered a free service up to the city shop 2 weekends ago, I think it was, or maybe it's 3 already. But anyway, I think we're gonna have maybe one curbside yet. And that would give them an opportunity to only have to drag it
To the curb.
to the curb. Because, even you'll have to put it in the pickup or the car and haul it. That's too much effort. So we're gonna give them another opportunity. And after that, then I think we need to get very strict on stuff like this, because they failed.
Yeah, so for example, Mapleton had another one where they had to do an abatement. And it cost the city over $14,000 to do the abatement, because they had to hire someone to remove basically their entire backyard. And then they had to store it for 60 days.
Yeah.
And after that 60 days, it became the property of the person that cleaned it up. So it can get very costly.
That's why Kennedy had said, start putting it in our budget, start planning to put it in our budget for future,
But so what the city did though is they turned around and put that on that person's property tax.
Property taxes, yeah.
So they got a $14,000 bill that just dumped on their property tax. So in order to get their stuff back, they had to pay that $14,000. Well, of course, people that keep those yards like that they don't have that kind of cash or access to it. So it essentially goes into like, what do you call it, foreclosure, default. So that's how it became the property of the person that cleaned it.
I mean, we have a commercial property that's, what's it, like almost abandoned. It's sitting, too, the same one with the building in kind of disarray. So I mean, now, it went from houses to that. So I mean, Jesus, we got a lot of problems.
we got a lot of problems.
I'm sorry, but I mean, if the city doesn't direct somebody to clean up their property, because the neighbors don't like it, nothing will ever happen.
So that's why I was talking about you have that option of instituting the administrative penalties.
Yeah,
And if that doesn't work, then you're gonna have to go through with an abatement.
Yeah.
And that's something where you have to have the city attorney draft. You know, he would see all of these letters that you tried, gotten the fines, you haven't paid the fines, they haven't dealt with it. Now here comes the abatement, and you guys have to deal with it and get it cleaned up.
all right. Well, we got a good example here.
That's, yeah,
Were you able to get them the periodical that I'd sent over, or was that too late?
Yeah, I didn't get it. I did email it to Jim and then John had a copy at home.
oh, the 28 page.
Yeah,
Yeah, I read through it,
Yeah.
yeah.
From the League of Minnesota Cities.
Yeah.
Yeah, I read.
they've
through
all
the way
got the
through it.
book. I don't know if they've actually looked at it, but
Yes, I did.
And that would be something also, they go through there and explain.
Yeah, there's a whole lot of stuff in there.
Boy.
That, oh, man, it's like 28 pages and like, wow. So you're saying we do have an ordinance that we can go after buildings that are in disarray, that are falling down, that are
It's called the
unsafe.
building appearance ordinance.
Building appearance. So I want to look up that one. Because I had an individual approach me about our Dakota Mart building. The back wall, the bricks are falling down.
Mhm.
That's a safety issue. They were telling me something about the, looks like the door frame is loose, that poor, and he actually said that they saw rodent traffic in and out of there. We can't have that.
Still,
And then I was told that they saw three little kids out in back climbing on the old gas pumps that have been sitting there since new ones were put in. And that's
7
been
years
how
ago?
many years?
7, 8 years ago.
So if somebody, a kid was climbing on that kind of stuff, who's at fault if that pump falls over on that kid? They can't come back in the city for anything like that.
no, it's not our property.
You guys don't own it.
I know, but could they ever get it in that we failed to make them clean up their property? The way this country sues? If they say, hey, man, the city failed to make them clean up their property, they should have been after that and taken care of business.
Yeah, just
In this world, you don't know anymore.
I'm not sure if they still own it yet or not. I know that there
with
was.
that being a petroleum product besides too, is that any different? But you could see it.
Did they ever take the tanks out of the ground?
No.
I can't believe,
Something you could call the Minnesota Pollution Control Agency. They would make those tanks get rid.
I can't believe that they haven't.
Me either.
The place clean them up already. I mean,
I would check with
Cause
the,
you must have had to get a permit to put them in the ground.
well,
must
that
have
that was in
people-
there when they bought it though. That
Okay.
goes back a long.
But do you have to
time.
recertify these every time? I mean, isn't there an agency that comes around? I mean, to
Yeah, there's a guy that, in fact, he was at my place 2
yours,
years
yeah,
ago.
okay.
And he went directly down there because he asked me about it. He measured the tanks. There's product in the bottom. It was not shut down properly, but that's all that's happened. That was 2 years ago because he just called me about 5 weeks ago wanting to come and reevaluate my site. So 2 years, they knew about that and nothing has happened.
did the owners just abandon the property?
Well,
Closed on it or what's?
Shut down the business and abandon
nothing's
it.
happened. You know, it's sitting full of stuff.
No power,
No power for the last 2 winters, right?
you know.
You know,
No water, obviously, either.
so
I would start with calling the pollution control agency, saying, hey, we got this.
Something's going on. It's a safety hazard. It's in disarray. Something's gotta be done.
And that's the same thing, start with, I don't, you have to figure out who owns the property now. Someone owns it, if
Yeah.
Anchor or whoever owns it, you can start sending them the letters, and if they don't take care of it, well, then pay it, and then you put it on that parcel's property taxes.
And so like now their ordinance in Mapleton, you said, now who actually is that the city clerk that's in charge of this? I see that's their name, is on there.
So
Then it's also chief of police.
So he would be the one, he was going out and taking the pictures.
Who's he?
on-
Chief, okay,
He
chief
was
of police.
going out, he'd take the pictures,
Okay,
then I don't know if he'd send the letter, I'm not sure how that all played out, but I know you go back. Verify it's taken care of or not, and if not, then he'd send a letter to the city and saying. And it's all, send them with the bill.
Okay, so the fact that we don't have a chief of police,
You know,
that's why I just want to know, I want to know how we.
And
can
you're
get
not
this-
gonna do it.
and I was
Implemented.
told that the sheriff's office, because I specifically asked, is that gonna be part of my job duty? And I was told no.
Okay, so then,
You would have to appoint someone.
Yep. It would fall on Sue.
Yeah, he's only
I
part-time.
know in Maple, there's got 2 assistants too, doesn't she? So,
Yeah.
I mean, there's a pretty good office full of gals there that.
Okay, well, that's what, I want to know what steps we gotta make to get something going, because like we've been talking about,
You can see, you know.
we've been hearing about this for,
You could even look at, you know, it's, you have someone from the town that wants to do it. You know, they just need to be shown, you know, you gotta take pictures from the street. Or if the neighbor allows it to go on the neighbor's property, or if even the violator allows them to go on the property to take. a
well, it's
picture.
right up to a public sidewalk, so you should be able to snap any
Absolutely,
pictures of
yeah.
what you can
Yeah,
see.
Yeah, and there's nothing unconstitutional about that. You know,
Mhm.
You're taken from a private place, or I'm sorry, a public sidewalk.
All right, I guess this question has to do with motor vehicle. If you see somebody constantly parking on the wrong side of the street, facing the wrong direction, will you stop and tell those people to turn it around? Yeah.
Yep, she emails me quite regularly with parking complaints. Jim's contacted me. It's not an issue for me to just, when
Yeah.
I'm working,
Cause
hear the parking complaints.
there's a few individuals that are always parked on the wrong side of the street. People say, why don't the city do something about that? Okay, so now we know when they ask that question again, we'll say, okay, the sheriff's department will act on it when they see it. Right?
I can't speak for all of my coworkers, but I will, if I see it, I will take care of it. But if you send me an email, somehow she sends me an email, I always take care of it in some form of fashion.
Okay,
Or somebody called 911 on it.
Yeah.
Then
Yeah, someone will come.
whatever, all you hear is the complaining because they don't wanna call 911 because they feel like they're gonna get retaliated against. I don't care.
yeah,
But you hear that all the time.
oh, yeah.
Well, I'm not gonna, cause
I have
then
no
it'll
problem.
come back to haunt me.
Any of you send me an email, this vehicle on this, can you take care of it?
all right.
That, I had part of the liaison duty.
With summer coming, there are a lot more dirt bikes and motorized things flying through town. Is there more patrolled in town, like in the weekends and evenings to try to take care of that? Over the weekend, Saturday night, Friday night, there was a dirt bike flying up and down my street for like a half an hour, just revving it, flying back and forth. I wasn't home. I heard about it when I got home.
Best thing you can tell people if they've got problems with dirt bikes, ATVs. You can call them. Someone will come, someone from the sheriff's office will come. Like, you know, it's just kind of a guess. I mean, if you look, I think we put in over 100 hours last.
Yeah, there were a lot of hours.
Yeah, I didn't see any hours wrote down.
Yeah, I didn't get to it.
I was wondering how many there was, but
So I mean, the contract is 48 and we, you know, but you know, I'm just,
what were all them extra hours for?
they're just in town. And you're not being billed for it. They're
Okay.
just, because, so everyone sees how it accrues over the month. We get a month, or I'm sorry, a weekly email. I can't speak for all the rest of the deputies if they're actually looking at that email to see where the hours come in. But it's under the center of the county. So a lot of guys will just come in here.
So when you drive through, you're coming from Amboy and you're driving County Road 1 and you drive through and you go east or you go north, do you count that as serving good thunder?
No,
Okay.
we're not gonna like start an ICR and start billing you just for driving.
So those 100 hours have an ICR behind them all? Oh, really?
Yeah, quite a variety pack of calls though this past month.
Yeah, I looked at, I asked about that because I've been asked. From people in the community, they really like it when they see you when they're getting on the bus. And they really like it when they see you when they're getting off the bus. And I think that's great. And to see you on the side streets, that would be, I mean, I've had one guy, you know, I haven't seen anybody in, 2-3 months. I said, well, I have, but I wouldn't say it's definitely not an every other day occurrence that I've seen anybody, but
And you should be able to see in that, when that, it comes through, it shows the times.
So she gave me, yeah, your report, and I went through it all because he brought that up. I wanted to follow through on it. Yeah, a lot of times it'll say you're here at 2:02, but that's all it said. It didn't say like I started at 1:30 and I stayed till 2:32. It just, and then the other one said like 12:35. Came in the afternoon.
Look back at that.
Yeah, no, it didn't tell me how long you were here, but it did say, I don't know if it was like when you log in to the town, but it never did say when you left or how long you were here.
Well, some of that's gotta have a beginning and an end.
Yeah,
It's
no,
got
that
100
report-
hours.
On my computer, I could see that, so that's how my records department does that. So they pull it and they see all the, it's called a direct patrol. So they pull that for the month and that's how she adds up the time. So it starts when we create the ICR and it ends when we close it out.
So each time you say you just come in and, well, I think a week ago, I seen somebody sitting up there in front of the bus garage or one of them, you know, that guy was there probably an hour. So he started an ICR in Good Thunder at say 1 PM. And then when he left at 2:15, then he ends that ICR. So that's how you get your hours accumulated.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I was gonna show you what comes up, but
I can look at two on my phone. I forward the email to Sue quick and.
All in all, I think everybody is very happy, you know, with the service that
Yeah.
the sheriff's department has given us. You know, I don't think, well, I've never gotten a complaint that you don't see anybody, you know, so I think all in all, the city made a pretty good decision to go with the sheriff's department because of the struggle of maintaining our own police
And
department
it's
cost.
really gotten worse in the last 4 or 5 years, as far as being able to hire.
Yeah.
If you look on the Postmark website, there's.
Yeah.
Anywhere from 150 to 200 plus openings.
Yeah, you would, a small town would never be able to keep their own police force anymore,
I mean, Madison Lake, they're down to just their chief again.
really.
He's been in an open hire for. No,
okay, right here.
Oh,
Time reported, I'm just picking one, for example, on 4/30/2025, it says you logged in at 23:13.
okay,
And it just says
yeah, but
directed
then you go down
patrol.
below, then it's 5:34.
No, he wasn't here 5 hours. That's a different call.
Oh, yeah, it is.
Yeah, then later, then at 5.5 hours later, yeah, you came out for a civil call at a address. I won't say what that was. You know, it does say a time, but it's only one time.
That $100.
No
was
ending time.
All the 911 calls too, right?
Yeah.
not positive on that. I'd have to-
Well, there's that one here, a 911 wireless hangup. Answer, you got one here where you had motor vehicle accident fatality, you know, 0:36, so 12:36.
Yeah.
But it doesn't say when you left.
Okay.
I just, just curious, if people ask me a question, I'd like to be able to answer for them, but how long were they in town or what did they do or,
I'll have to ask her if there's a way to put an end time to that.
Yeah, an end time, yeah. Because obviously there is, because you got 100 hours.
Yeah.
And without an end time, you'd never know where to stop.
Yeah.
Well, anybody else with questions? If not, thank you very much.
Thank you for your response to everything I've had, especially as being a new member. I'm not exactly sure how everything goes, but I do want to know how things go and what we have to do to get things done. And I appreciate your quick response on everything and
I
I'll
guess,
do what I can to help guide you through.
we got a foundation here,
yeah.
so
Yeah, it's
hopefully,
an option.
yeah.
I'm just trying to give you options. The courts don't want the ordinance criminal. They don't have that time to do county attorney in the courts. They don't want the ordinance enforcement in there and and it's the same thing that pay $100 fine and there's no teeth to it.
Even after it's like $3,000, it's not criminal at some point or,
Well, it is a crime. It's a crime. It's a misdemeanor, but they're not gonna put someone in jail on an ordinance violation. They told them, clean it up and never any follow through with it.
So we're better off doing the fine and kind of hitting them there a little bit if they don't comply.
That's the reason why I'm able to do that. Because they
And
weren't getting.
if it compiles, then you put it on their property tax.
Well, even if it's only a $100 fine and they don't comply, it goes through the, because we have one of the ordinances we're trying to get through is, yeah, somebody reports it and they get the letter. If they don't clean it up, then it's like a hearing kind of thing, that they can present their case to council. And then and that's where we could assess the fine if it doesn't get done.
Yep, and you
But
just,
we have
you
to
gotta
put
have
that
that,
in
you
there.
gotta have that ordinance.
Yep.
In place to be able to do that.
So if we send them and they're supposed to come and meet to us and tell us why it wasn't cleaned up?
Yeah, we get so many down. I think the first letter is they have so many days to clean it up, and the second letter says, yeah, whatever. The second letter says, it'll be discussed at the council meeting on this date. You can state your case or whatever, or if they have issues why they can't get it done or. No,
It's a long process.
it is. But until we can get the ordinance. Make it an ordinance, we have to.
But once you pay that so-called, if you give them that fine and they don't pay,
Right,
do anything.
Yeah, that's right.
then you go into the abatement and then you put it on their
20
taxes.
days.
Well, I'm just saying, you could say after
Well, I think
2
we got
months or
some
whatever, it
tough answers.
doubles.
We got something to go by, so I guess, thank you.
Yep.
Anybody else with anything or?
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
I'll do some digging as to who owns that property with the cats.
Yeah,
See if I can, maybe contact the family member, because I know that there is a daughter associated with that.
well, there's a sister there a couple hundred feet away, so.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Okay, appreciate it.
All right, we're on to fire department. Chief Clammer had 9 calls, 2 medical, 1 order investigation, 5 grass fires and 1 MVA. Street department, I'd like to welcome Eli Depute on as our street guy. New street guy.
What do you think so far?
It's fun.
Yeah.
It's busy. Yeah, stay
Good.
busy, and
How about the guy you had to work with? Is that guy okay?
Do you need hazard pay?
I don't want that on record.
Seth on that one.
We had a good week so far. I mean, he started Thursday last week and every day we've had the 4 hours in the morning that I spend here has all been training every day on a different aspect of what's a part of his job. And I mean, one of the questions went both ways and, I think he's got a pretty good grip on everything and
Well, I think we're kind
a
of
nice person to work with, I'll tell you.
fortunate that race kind of showed you some of the things
Yes.
and now you're showing Eli.
Yeah,
And between everybody, everything should get down pretty pat in
yeah.
a quick order.
It was a good transfer of knowledge
Yeah.
and experiences and
Brian made a very good effort to clean the shop up, so you come into he almost got most of it done, but there's things, but I mean, he made a very, very nice improvement.
Yeah, and I appreciate that, and I've told him that, but
Yeah,
it's
very
it's
nice.
nice to cook in a clean kitchen, so.
Hey,
Yeah.
nice. Yeah, there you go.
the
And
mechanical side of Eli has been amazing because he's had that more in about 1,000 pieces, re-lubricated everything, put all the new fluids in it and transmission fluid and oil and filters and everything
Perfect.
down to some snap rings that were missing and put it back together and it's like a new mower now, so.
Perfect.
Having
Good.
that ability on staff is
Yeah.
nice, so.
Anything from you, Eli?
I guess, yeah, just going through the training with Brian, getting familiar with the equipment, kind of getting ideas on the equipment. Everything's in pretty good shape other than a few things on the street sweeper, and then that older single axle dump truck is just, it needs TLC either
Yes, it
way,
does.
whether we get rid of it or keep it, it needs TLC. So that's kind of what's on my radar now.
You have the zoning permit?
What's
I
that?
did sweeper training today. I don't know if you guys noticed the streets.
Yes, I did.
Pretty nice. We did your, by your house and your house.
Yeah.
My house, yeah, I saw it go by.
Yeah, yeah, I was, there's a little bit of a learning curve to that, so, but,
I was as scared as hell of that thing when the first time.
I told him he'd get it, no problem.
yeah, we did have one building permit. I don't have that in front of me, but that was on Willard Street.
yeah, that was.
Yep.
So they were doing some 848 Willard, they were doing some basement work and they wanted to bury a sump pump line. There was a little bit of contradiction between what the one call stated and what they had kind of said they were gonna do, so we had them draw out the line, so we made sure it got buried in a place where the water would stay on their property.
No, I didn't get a front. I got a front.
Oh,
Hey, what do you got on
What
the
do you
back?
guys had down?
Yeah, you guys got it resolved, so we're in pretty good shape there then.
Yep, otherwise, and if I go on too long, let me know, but, I did call on the sweepings down at the brush pile. At the Ponderosa, we can dump that. They do charge $5 a ton, so it's not a lot. It's gonna be more in trucking, but that's something that, I'd like to see, I guess, more stuff get hauled out of there than goes in there for a while, so we can kind of get a little more room back.
Yeah,
Cleaning up that dump.
some of it needs to be cleaned up, yes.
Other than that, I know the concrete was on our list to kind of try to see if somebody will haul that out or.
Corey would take that.
Yeah, he was on the list to call. I haven't got him called yet, and then, try to get something done to kind of diminish some of that compost before we figure out what to do with it.
As long as it's not full of garbage or.
Somebody lit the bird.
Yeah, I was just gonna say.
Yesterday, during a red flag day, somebody found it upon themselves to go light our pile on fire. And, that would be a big hazard.
How do you know somebody did
We
it?
don't have cameras down there right now, but somebody lit it up.
How do you know somebody did that?
Smoke.
Huh?
I saw smoke.
It's gone. The burn.
It's all gone.
Well, I mean, I know it's like burnt up, but how do you know that somebody actually, I mean,
Well, it's,
There was not that much green stuff for like a spontaneous combustion or anything like that. And it was like Saturday, it was good. And then Saturday night, overnight, I think it went up.
yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, cause I added to the pile on Thursday, so I know it was not burnt on Thursday.
Yeah, and I think
Sunday
it-
it was smoking and we put stuff out there.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's kind of a mess right now. I didn't want to disturb anything with the wind and stuff, but tomorrow I'm hoping to kind of get it cleaned up again, but. Yeah, stumps down there. I'm trying to get stumps burnt up too, but
Yeah,
obviously they had my fire without me. They didn't invite me, so.
Yeah. Yeah, we don't need that kind of help.
downtown there, that bell tower there, that hedge has never gotten trimmed and taken care of. I think it was in the plans last year to take it out, put some lattice around it, and make sure that it's still structurally sound to leave it there. So that was in the game plan to take the hedge out. And if it needs some painting or upkeep, so I guess however you want to grub that out,
Yep.
get rid of it.
What is the city's feelings or whatever about weed control? I was down at the softball diamond. The whole warning track area of the old softball field.
All weeds.
Oh, it's solid dandelions, solid dandelions.
Well, I mowed that once and what I was gonna try was actually to put those rippers down on that leveler just an inch or so. And hopefully get some of that pulled up and turned over and we'll have to rake them up or something once we get them, but.
I see the corrugated tile that was over the top of the fence.
Yeah.
Right center field. You could probably gonna need two of you to put that back on. It's slowly working its way to the right field corner. It's coming off or kids are doing it or something, because I noticed it before and I thought I should volunteer to come down and give you a hand because it's gonna take two people.
Sure.
Well, the thing of it is, last month we discussed, what are we gonna do with the ball?
Yep, that's why I went down to
What
look
are
at
we
it.
gonna do?
I mean, it is, it's too nice what's there now. I mean, I played down there when there was nothing there. With that concession stand, the high fences, you got nice picnic tables, you got bleachers. I mean, that infield area could easily be turned into a pickleball court.
We got it all except occupancy.
Yeah.
If we got it in good shape, would Mapleton, like community ed use it or anything or?
That's what I, yeah.
I don't,
Any baseballs over here.
When I first filled in last, or 2 years ago, whenever it was, Mapleton had called to use it for practice for their baseball team, or I think it was probably their below varsity, whatever, junior high.
Oh, JVU.
Race did it, but then nobody ever came and never got any more calls. So I don't know if it's too much of a drive now for them to come here from Mapleton or what. But yeah, it's just ever since COVID, that's just a use, unfortunately.
I was thinking about that, and if you want to use your concession stand, you need something where people are gonna stay a long time, so it would have to be a tournament. Or I said,
That's what
a car show would be cool. I also said, what, maybe we could put up a temporary white screen. And have people bring their lawn chairs and watch a movie in the park and open the concession stand, have popcorn and peanuts and
Mhm.
stuff for during.
Somebody brought up-
Stuff like that would be to get the concession stand used.
It's a great thing, but you can never find that person that's gonna organize it to do it.
Yeah, you
That's
almost
the
need a
problem.
committee for that.
Yeah,
Somebody brought up that, what is it, that disc golf too?
Mhm.
The what?
Disc
Oh,
golf.
disc
I don't think it's big enough to do.
yeah,
It isn't really big enough. It'd only be 3-4 holes. That's all. Yeah.
Well, again, we're faced with, what do we do with it?
Yeah,
What, does that building that's down there, the old warming house or whatever, does that get used?
Well, that's what I was gonna ask tonight. Them guys were gonna, the Pheasants Forever,
Has it or whatever.
and they were gonna expand it and that, and we haven't heard anything back at all.
Well, I think they decided not to because that's where the tentative storm sewer holding pond was gonna
I know where
be.
the tennis courts were.
Yeah, if that bonding mill went through. So they kind of backed out of that.
that's why we never,
Why are
that's
they
why we
worried
never made
that
any.
It was gonna be too close to that storm sewer.
Storms, water
storm sewer
runoff.
Retention pond or something, yeah.
That's why we never made a decision with those tennis courts, basketball courts either, like to put money into that, because that,
But why, that holding pond could be along that east edge of that whole ballpark. It
Yeah.
could be 30 feet wide and 300 feet long.
Yeah.
We could move that.
Yeah,
There was never any definite spot to put that. So, yeah, I hate to see them guys not move forward because they were pretty interested in,
The other part is then who owns it, and if they do all these upkeeps and updates to it. Is there cause I know we talked to Kennedy about that, is there an agreement? Cause the city owns the building.
Yep.
But if they do all the upkeep on it, where does that fall?
you just have to write up a lease for
That's what they were talking about.
30, 40 year lease or 10-year
And then
lease
you
or
have
5, whatever. And at the end of the lease, if they want to go it, re-up it again,
Mhm.
that they have that investment in there.
you'd rather see it used, yeah.
So I guess I wouldn't
Cause they
deter
use it,
them.
we were down there a couple weeks ago and somebody was bringing stuff into that building.
Oh, really?
Oh,
Yep.
really?
I mean, because we don't have to put that retention pond right there. We have other property along the woods that we could do,
Yeah, it could go clear to the east of the existing parking lot now of the
Yep,
ball field. There's
absolutely.
plenty of room over there.
There's a sewer line and a storm sewer line that runs through there. You couldn't put it over a sewer
More
line.
over into right
Oh,
on the
yeah,
wood line,
storm-
right?
the sanitary sewer runs through there.
Yeah,
Yeah, I forgot about
Right to
that.
the ball field. It's a water line.
To the
It's
parking lot.
right on the edge of the woods, basically.
Is that where that water line is?
Yeah,
Right
east
on
of the playground.
Well, so then you could be this side if that's right. You could be just to the west of that tree line.
That
No,
Darker-
darker, no,
Yeah.
but that darker green is where
Okay,
that,
keep
that
going, right in
tile,
there, yeah.
that tile falls that track,
Mhm.
the storm water.
Well, just like Mayor was saying though, if you
The
got,
city owns some of that
300 feet.
woods in there too. There is a portion of that woods that is the city's in there and. And I don't know how deep they make a retention pond. Anybody know?
probably 6 feet.
6 feet? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I guess see what. If their intention is to do it yet, and we could write up a lease.
we don't want to see them not use it just because of that. There's
Right,
other
well, yeah, they're
places we
using, like I said, I saw bring some stuff in there when I was down.
Well, the only reason I said is they wanted to do something, and yeah, I've been asking around the people in Mapleton. They say that their pickleball courts are used all the time.
Yeah, and boys are too.
All the time. And I was over there at the city shelter for a birthday party Saturday and the pickleball courts were busy. I was there from 4 to 7 and they were out there. This part, at least you got a high fence. You've got, they're not great lights, but there are lights right there. You're kind of about a fourth of the way there where it could be something, at least it would be used.
How big is the pickle court?
Oh, they're half the size of a tennis court, aren't they?
Yeah, because you can put four
Basically, I think.
pickleball courts. Is it four inside a tennis court or is it two? I'm gonna.
We already have the tennis court or the tennis court.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah, that is in such disarray.
Yeah,
It's,
I know, my-
Blacktop was really bad.
well, and then you're too far away from everything. I wanted to get it over by the
Concession.
concession stand where you have those bleachers, picnic tables, a nice facility. You got high fence, you got power. So you could give them lights if they, I mean, they're there.
Mhm.
It's not like it would be costing us a great deal to do it, but it would just be nice to see it be used.
We have money in the parks that reality. Fixing the lights down there always took a good portion of it now, you know, we haven't spent money on
Yeah.
parks at all, so.
And on your list, I just thought of it when I was walking around down there. Yeah, the kids have been hanging on the fencing on the one to the south. And they broke where you hang the bats.
The dugout.
Yep.
Yep.
And there's exposed nails. Whatever, we should do something with that, so somebody don't go down there and get hurt, and then we, you know, as a city. Then if you go just to the east of the concession stand where the old drinking fountain used to sit.
Yep.
Yeah, we noticed that the other day.
Okay, the wood is broken, so that'd be the next thing that somebody'd get into and break an ankle and wanna come after us on if there's some way we can do something with that. My dog loves it down there. We go one stands on left field line, one stands on right field line. He runs back and forth. We always bring our bag and we always pick up after him.
Okay,
There's some of them down there that don't.
cause Eli don't want that job.
Yeah. But, so we run back and forth. So I said, well, I'm here. I'm gonna walk around. I walked the whole thing. I walked over by that building that was the old warming house. I walked all the way around the concession stand. I was probably on camera because I see there's cameras on the building.
Those bathrooms are all open now and cleaned and ready to go, so.
Yeah, so I mean, that's good. I mean, I was just curious. That's how I saw the corrugated tile not on top of the fence. That's how I saw the batting cage. I saw one little kid climbing up the fence when I was pulling up. I got out and I said, hey, you know, get down.
Would we keep that
He takes off.
outfield fence?
See, that's something.
Or
Yeah.
would we take that warning track up and plant it in grass?
Yeah, if it's not gonna be a ball field anymore,
You could take that fence up.
you could,
Cause
cause
they're
it's,
pushing up out of the ground.
yeah,
anyway.
it's only 8-foot stuff too, where the stuff along the first baseline of the infield is,
Yeah,
that's
tall.
12 feet high.
Yeah.
That's perfect for what they use, but yeah, if it's not gonna be used for a ball field, the outfield fence could go. I mean, yeah, could you
I mean,
reuse it? I don't know.
when is a guy gonna make a decision to take that outfield fence down and, you know, instead of having Eli go down there and fix it and like I say, they're coming out of the ground about 3 to 4 inches.
Oh, the stuff wore away over the years though too.
Oh.
Yeah, it's,
You could take down the fence, couldn't you? Anytime or?
Right, I mean, but
Because we-
yeah. Just, what was that? Yeah.
Saw it off.
But we gotta make the decision that we're axing it, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, when do we decide that? In July of this year or next year or tonight or?
Fence down, you can take the fence down anytime. You just gotta have a motion to take the fence down.
yeah, but I mean, if it's not gonna be, we gotta make the determination. If it's not gonna be used to play ball anymore, that's when you take the fence down.
Would we call over to the school and ask them, you know, if they ever have any intention to using it again or not? I don't think they do.
I don't think they will.
They'd have to-
No, because they got a big. sport
Oh,
complex there
fancy,
now.
yeah, there you go.
So I don't believe they're gonna make a trail to Good Thunder.
See what your $63 million gets you.
They had 2 more fields over there.
Yeah, what a joke.
You had none already too.
Yeah, cause they're assessing more taxes too.
Oh, of course.
So anyway, do we make a motion tonight to just take the outfield fence down?
I would say we need to weigh it. We need to really have a good discussion on what we're gonna do with it first.
Should we ever have a public meeting and ask the public to see What do you want to see at that ballpark?
Let's hear them.
Do you want to see anything? Do you want us to take the fences down and make it all grass? You know, like Brian said, it'd be cool if you could have a outside movie on a
Yeah.
Friday night and have
It would be.
popcorn and hot dogs in that concession stand, but there's no community involvement.
Yeah,
No.
And it's hard to get anybody to be involved.
yeah.
And it's a shame because when we used to have the Pioneer Indian Days Parade forever, there was a lot of involvement and it was a great time.
And there's always a ball tournament that weekend too.
Always
Yes, yep.
played in it many years.
But times have really changed. I believe these things here occupy
Oh, yeah,
most young people's,
Them Game Boys with their thumbs.
so.
I think even, I mean, like fire departments, like he said, police departments, like everything, you just can't get anybody to do anything.
Yeah.
It's all changed. Society has really changed. They don't have any values that we had,
Yeah.
so. And I know if we take the fence down, it'd be wrong.
Oh, yeah.
Like Tom would say, it'd be
We could-
damned if you do or damned if you don't.
We could even put it out for the June meeting, and depending what's on the agenda, you know, come and share your thoughts about
Yeah.
the ball.
So I can put something in the water bill,
Yeah,
and just say, you know, we're gonna have a public meeting about it,
Yeah.
or, you know, give us your thoughts or.
What do you want us to do?
Yeah,
come up
Yeah.
during community comment, you know, you can let stuff know if you want.
discussion about what to do with the ballpark.
What do you want to see?
What do you want to see in this town?
Do you like to see a new tennis court? Do you like to see a basketball court? Do you like to see a pickle court?
Well, if we're gonna do it, I would say that, because you can do a tennis court that is also pickleball, because most of them were set up on a tennis court. when they
Can, yeah.
Okay.
Because I think it's the same net. I'm not,
I
don't
think
hold
it's
me.
just the height of the net,
Yeah.
because I think you can move them
I
up
don't
and
know my
down.
rules, but I know enough guys that play it. I could definitely find out.
But and a basketball court, I've said if we're gonna do it, we need to go all in, you know,
Yeah.
if it's gonna get used.
Yeah.
Purpose.
Because I mean, in reality, right now, there isn't any basketball court for kids to go shoot.
No, because that one that's down there is in bad shape.
Oh, it's garbage, yeah.
One of the towns that you're talking about had the issue with kids riding their bicycles around on the courts they put up. They had to figure a way to keep it secure so the kids couldn't ride their bikes around in there on the
Yeah.
skateboards and
Yeah.
Oh, skateboard.
there's a little bit of police and that goes if you have it way down there out of
That's the hard
public
part.
view.
Yeah. Well, that's what the community
Yep, yep, yep.
does. I don't know what we have for room up here in this park. I don't know how is that divided?
That's.
We lease it from the church.
Yeah,
100% of that land is church land?
The whole park is owned by them, that's my understanding.
That
We
is,
lease it for $1. Just did another agreement, what, last year?
Went for like 20 years or something.
Yeah, last
We
year.
were looking at
was
that up
last
at that park, by the shelter there, there's a pipe sticking out of the ground about 3 feet. Probably at one time it had a grill on it or something.
Oh, yeah.
did have a grill on it.
I'm sure, I hope I don't hit that in the middle of the night sometime walking through there. It's just a pipe sticking up. I wonder if we should do something. with
I
it.
don't know where the grill went. You know, do you get
Can
another
you
grill?
pull it out of there? It's just, I'm sure it's probably in cement. Yeah, it's in
If I do it with his bare hands. But there is a pipe sticking up.
Can you check on that and see if it's sturdy enough? Maybe we could put a grill back on it, or we could get rid of it. If it's not gonna be a grill.
There was 2 of them.
There's 2 grills.
Yeah.
There's 2 posts, one has a grill.
Yeah,
Oh,
Oh, one already has a grill on it?
yeah,
I think they both had a grill at one time, right?
they did.
Yeah.
Yep.
yeah.
They're pretty heavy. That one up there's pretty heavy duty.
Yeah.
Well, anything else then for Eli, or Eli, anything for us?
Do we want to approve that building permit?
Oh, yeah.
Is that,
John, want to make a motion to approve the building permit PT 02-2125? Someone a second? Okay.
Aye.
Aye, both motion carried. Anything else, Eli, you need of us or anything?
I don't
Now
believe
that you're
so. Just-
starting?
Yeah, work with me, patience, education, all that good
Yeah.
stuff and.
yeah, like we said before. it looked both ways, yeah.
If
Nope.
Eli makes this a lifelong commitment, you have to
He did
teach
already.
him to
You signed that
the
one.
water
Yeah,
licensing and that.
yeah, so he and I talked about that, kind of a timeline for that. And when we get to the point here in a year or so, when he wants to start getting more into that after he gets his feet under him. I can sign the affidavit of experience back to the day he started.
Oh, okay.
So we already covered, like, we're gonna do water mains Wednesday, Thursday. Tomorrow, we're gonna backwash the filter and I'm gonna show them all the piping and how to change it around in the well house to go from well to tower and
Yeah,
different things like
yeah.
that.
And
So
can you write that on the wall?
we had,
You need, there was a time we were trying to figure that out.
Yeah.
You were gone,
yeah,
Can you write that? Can you put it on the wall?
we can, yeah,
Because that would have been handy that day.
yeah.
Because there was one valve that wasn't getting turned on. I forget which one it was.
And then, we already had pond day. Spent a lot of time out there looking at all the infrastructure and what things do out there and stuff. So we're already talking about
And
information. Eventually we'll start learning the testing of the water and the reporting and all that kind of stuff too, but little at a time. Right now, he's drinking out of the fire hose. He's getting everything thrown at him and we added more to it tonight and just, let him get his feet under him first.
I got a couple things that maybe fall under Eli's domain. There's a tree there by the school. Hit the internet that's hanging up there really high.
I think it's on the sidewalk.
Is it in the, like,
It's hanging in the tree, a broken branch.
yeah,
Over the city street. So is that our responsibility to,
Drummers.
you think it's
It's
drummers?
Drummers, if it's on Drummers property, it says,
Well, the tree is on Drummer's property, but it's hanging above the city street.
well, if the city wants to pull it, they can probably pull it, but
Yeah,
in
so
reality,
it could pose a danger if it falls down.
Yeah, it did.
So do we take and do it? Or do we call Drummer and say, hey, you got a tree that's hanging over with a large broken off branch? And see how he wants to do it?
We can reach out to him first if.
I'll reach out to him tomorrow. I'll call their office.
Okay, and then street dust control. I talked to these guys this morning and there's that one that's better that we had done,
Mhm.
And do we want to do those like your street and take care where them potholes are? And like now with that, oh, that's another thing I forgot to write down. We have a new business there in one of them buildings. So far, I've seen a lot of activity there. We need to put that good seal coating on Brand Street again, maybe recycle it because it sure gets dusty. Some of these that we have put in the recycle down and then this stuff on top is like a blacktop road, like
Yeah. it's
Sue's
good.
Road.
It's still gravel.
Oh, I know
Yeah.
that, but it's got a lot of hard surface on it.
Mine doesn't, not much.
I don't know. It's better than a gravel road.
Gravel.
Maybe better than, we're pothole alley right now.
But maybe get a hold of that company and see what it's gonna cost this year per foot or however they do it. And then, does this fall under Brian, start working on that building down there for the lagoon?
We did. So we met out there, I was gonna talk about that when we came to my spot. But he came and we kind of reconfigured it a little bit. We shrank it down and we looked at an 18x18 with a roll-up door and a man door and that's it. On pylons, instead of having footings or anything like that, it would have, they would core down and put in sonotube and then they'd be sticking up a little bit. And then you put your,
Jack in it?
like a pole barn, but not with the poles in the ground and be on pylons. He's gonna give us a bid for that. So we met with him this week, so.
Who's that?
What was his name?
Midwest Construction.
Yeah, Midwest Construction. They had bid it last year.
Oh, them guys are out here, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
That's
good.
That's for the small building for
Yeah.
the chemicals.
yes.
Okay.
And so,
Because we ran out of time last fall.
yeah, we did. And that would include having they would build it with that electrical panel on the, it's already on concrete footing. So that would just be in the corner inside.
Yep.
Not necessarily attached to the wall, but in the corner.
Yeah,
And then a man door and a roll-up door in case we ever had to replace the tank itself.
does it have to be heated then or not?
No,
No?
no,
Okay.
no, it doesn't have to be heated. It's not an occupied space. The only requirement, and I talked to him about this, was that the man door that you have has to have one of those bars across that you can, if you get splashed with chemical in your eyes, you can back up and bump into it and it opens.
Okay.
Yeah, and it has to open out, not in.
Right.
So, no, really, it's pretty basic. he's gonna draw it up and give us a bid on what that's gonna cost to do that, so. I think it'll be a lot less money than the first round that we. And what do you have, like 18 by 20 or something like that, or
With-
18 by?
With concrete, I think.
Yeah, with concrete floor and everything. We don't need a concrete floor either. I mean, they can,
It'd be pretty nice, so,
yeah, it would be nice.
yeah. I would think we've made it this far nice.
Yeah.
Let's have it nice,
Right,
you know?
yeah.
And we should have probably done this 5 or 7 years ago because Brian said his numbers come back really good
Yeah.
now.
Mhm.
You're stealing my thunder.
Yeah, and just to make longevity of it, yeah.
Yeah. And security.
And I guess this-
$35,000.
This is maybe Eli's yet, you know, down there by the school, across from the school, where that house is down in the corner, you know. We put that blacktop curb to keep the water from running over there. Well, then the water that comes down that street goes around the corner and the engineers put all that riprap there.
Yeah, riprap.
It looks terrible.
Yeah.
Who's gonna keep the weeds out of it? Who's gonna, when the weeds start going this summer so high? My thoughts are, I believe there is a right of way going down that hill
Yeah, because it is a street. It's just not
and we could run,
finished.
put a catch basin in and run a pipe down and hook it into there. And take that stupid rock out of there. It looks like hell. Sorry,
I gotta
it does.
I gotta look at that.
And once
I
the
thought there was
weeds
a
start
catch
growing up in there, it's gonna be a total mess. I mean, it's our property. We have that right away there. Let's get a bid and put a catch basin in and run it down, hook it into that tile down there. Probably what? 150 feet, maybe, something like that. So it would just make it a lot better looking. I wouldn't want to live right there with that. That's a mess. It's terrible. So,
I haven't been over there or to look at that.
Yeah, just right. You can't miss it.
oh, and then the other thing, and I did ask Sue today there, and this still probably falls under Eli, that Chambers is about the sewer. We were gonna continue on, find the locker and that. We still haven't, Sue hasn't been able to get a hold of anybody to get our easements.
Right.
Neither one of them have been signed.
So we're kind of at a standstill there, but we still want to pursue that because we could be getting I in there yet.
Mhm.
So. All right, that's enough for a while.
Yeah, and then we did talk about zoning and permits. I had somebody come up and ask me if there was any permit for the addition of a ramp to a business in town. I said, I had not heard of anything. And is that required?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes, it was request because if they're adding to a structure, they need a building permit. If they're redoing something, they do not.
and it's a great addition. It's a lot
Absolutely.
safer, looks a lot better. I think that
So-
would, but what? I don't know, maybe. Not trying to tick anybody off, but I'm asking questions. What is our
Recourse for people not getting the
exact?
permit.
Well, so in the past, it's been brought to their attention, you need to do a permit. They do a permit, they pay the $25.
No,
The city, the council could impose a fine, but they never have.
no, I'm
But
not
if
gonna.
they're willingly to,
So if they're willing to, I mean,
They're
it's kind of an
approving.
after the fact thing.
Yeah, well, I was just asking
Yep.
if we had a permit.
It's been brought to my attention.
Okay, yeah, I didn't know anything about
So
it.
I mean, we could definitely go down there with a permit and say, would you please fill this out? It's $20 fee.
Yeah,
Or drop it in the mail.
What's that?
Or drop it in the mail, either way.
Yeah, whatever.
You just show up a short letter.
Yep.
And are you with the paper?
Yes.
So do,
River Messenger, yes.
yeah, so do you go around, Good Thunder has 2 young individuals with a performance, is it performance garage?
Yeah, hi,
Shop
Oh,
there.
hi.
Could you possibly ever go see them and kind of help promote them
Yeah.
for their
yeah.
business?
Yeah, I'll write that down and I'll mention it to my editor too, so.
That'd be like 222 Graham Street, probably something in that area,
actually came.
Three
from
oh
Lake
three
Road, don't
something.
they?
3 something?
310.
What is
it's
yours?
a new business to town.
Okay, Yeah, I'd love to. You guys are friendly so far and I apologize for being late too. I'm juggling job in Mankato too, so.
Performance and.
I try to look at everything. And I live in Truman.
Oh, my.
So,
My,
What is it, high performance garage or
yeah.
something?
something
High
like that.
performance or is
High
it something
performance
like
garage.
that? Maybe it is. Yeah, and they do auto glass. They got an array of things they got on their thing and we need to welcome them to Good Thunder
Mhm.
and,
you know what the name of the business is?
That's what we're thinking. It's called like High Performance Garage or.
yeah, I think so. Maybe it is high performance.
Yeah, that'd be good, cause I never heard of it, so.
It's a couple younger guys.
Yeah, and if
Yep.
you want to do that, yeah.
They came into
Came
my
from Lake
store and
Crystal.
I asked them like Crystal. That's how I
If you
figured
want to
out.
pass that
there.
information on, if you do go up there, we would gladly come up with you
Okay,
and welcome them to the city.
I'd like to promote whatever you're planning to do with the ballpark too. Those are a lot of good ideas. We definitely need to keep the small towns going.
Mhm. Very much so.
People are dying for something to do.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that people are doing a lot of this too, but
It's isolating.
yeah.
Well, right now,
Maybe that could be an angle for an article too.
Right?
To the ballpark.
I
Yeah.
think we did make a motion, right, to put that in the water bill, next water
Yeah, I'm
bill.
gonna put
Let's
up,
get
I'll write up
ideas.
something to put in the water bill.
Have them
and,
come to the June meeting. Let's.
Yep.
It'd still be nice to get people thinking about it too.
Yeah,
Mhm.
no, I,
Like maybe talk to some people in town. This just ideas off my tired brain.
all right. Well, Eli, I guess we got enough for tonight.
That's all you got for me?
Say, do you have anything else? You had quite a bit.
This was the new sheet.
Yeah,
Oh,
well,
no, I didn't-
Want more?
You like, can I get your information later and do a feature article on you to welcome you to Good Thunder?
Sure.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
Yep, thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
All right.
You guys are really friendly here and I've appreciated listening to you. It's what I was.
Boy, that's a compliment.
Yeah.
That in the paper.
But you guys have a lot of problems. Like I get to tell you really care about your city and that's really.
Somebody got
That's
you.
heartwarming.
Yeah. Thank you for telling us that. We do,
Yes.
we do care though.
Okay, then we can go to the water sewer update. The main man is Brian Sevens.
I'll be quick. So I did the quarterly back T and fluoride submittals for the water and everything came back fine. Out at the ponds, I did my first discharge. Our phosphorus was 0.67 and 0.74 parts per million, the best we've ever had.
Good.
Never seen I seen it that low. So the system that we put in and the time that I'm able to hold the water now has really helped us out. You know, the drought last year was absolutely a blessing, but not to say that that's gonna happen again, but overall flows are down. We did put where we sell the water up here, somebody did come and wrote in there, they bought some water this week. We did remove that 2-inch cam lock, that cannot be on there.
Yeah.
They cannot have a direct connection to the water system. There has to be an air gap between our pipe and their receiving vessel. That's a Department of Health issue, so we removed that cam lock and put it back at the shop and they absolutely cannot hook onto that directly to a fire.
And there, I think last
Because it
summer there
takes
was
chemical fertilizer and pesticide in there.
some of them doing that a lot.
Yeah, we cannot do the cam lock anymore. That's against the law. So, that and, let's see. Now I was gonna talk about the building. We already covered that. Yeah, that's about all I got. I don't have a lot.
All right.
Thank you.
Perfect.
I wanted to bring up, I saw on the community page, we had some people going to social media rather than coming to the meeting and voicing their
Did you see my comment on?
Yes, I did. I wanted to commend you for speaking up and telling them, if you have an issue, this is where you come.
You have to hear all your.
Don't go spool your whatever on social media.
Yeah.
You got a problem with city water bills, you got a problem with the city, you come here. I want to commend you. You did very well. You did.
Yeah.
You did it better than I did. I
wanted to
would.
let them know that we have a work order process in place now
Yes.
that.
You did
It's
well.
approved, it's got different levels of approval, whether it's Eli, if it's a no-brainer, you know, you just, it's a, we call them just do it. And then you've got your clerk approval, your mayor approval and your council approval for the bigger. If somebody submits a work order for something that's bigger, of course, it has to be approved first, but there's tracking on there, there's different categories, there's follow-up, everything's on that one sheet. And it gives us a history. Now, if somebody says, you guys never do anything. here's the work orders.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
did do something and we reacted to your problem.
I just wanted to commend you how you handled that and how you told them to come here.
Was it shut down
But
then?
they should
I think so.
Yeah.
contact Sue also. you know.
Yes,
I had that in
you put in
Yeah,
there.
that's what
Yep.
Brian had put in there that said, bring it to City Hall.
Bring it to
Bring
City
it to
Hall,
City Hall.
Or the city council.
do the work order
A
process.
little bit on that more, the customer that was complaining, Eli, was a good learning experience for Eli. We went back and we did we pulled the information off their meters. So we had 450 days of water usage. So we were able to show the customer that they didn't have a leaking toilet because at night the flow was 0. But then there was days where their flow was 750 gallons a day. It was all over the place. But once we notified them that we were able to do that, all of a sudden the usage went down and then stayed down. So it made them take a closer look internally in their house. They maybe found what the issue was. At least the graph shows that they may have found their issue. But we were able to show them black and white, yes, you did use the water. Here's the days you use it on. No, you're not leaking at night, so it's not a toilet, it's actual water usage. And all that, so that software that we have, and he's got a good handle on it now. He did the last ones all alone by himself, so.
They'll never come back and.
Yeah.
Put a rebuttal, we know all about that.
If you have to pay the bill, you can't, dispute the fact that you use the water. There's no moving parts in these meters, they're ultrasonic.
Yep.
And, the other issue that on that whole topic was the amount of time between the billing and the penalty or the
Yeah,
late fee or whatever, but I won't even get into that, that's not my deal.
well, they need to come here
Yeah.
to take care of that.
One thing I just thought of when you were talking about record keeping, I don't know if the personnel people, did you instruct Eli at all to kind of keep a little log of what he does during the day?
It's kind of what he's doing with the work orders now.
Yeah.
As
Okay,
he goes down and cuts up a tree or does something, like today, he'll go back and do a work order, today I swept the streets. This many hours, he's not gonna count for every minute of it.
right, no,
But the big hitters, you'll have a trail of that now, so.
okay,
Yeah, we kind of had the work order thing, then we talked about how there's seasonal jobs and they're wrote down.
Mhm.
I mean, your board up there is pretty big.
Yeah.
So I mean, we got, hopefully that's good enough. I don't know if you want something more.
Well, and I can print off, because once he gets the work orders done, he sends them back to me and I have a file. So I mean, if we want, we can pull those for council meetings if council wants to see any of that or whatever. I can,
Big hitters or something.
yeah, right. I mean, I can put it all in a spreadsheet too, but however you want it. If it's something,
Like, he had probably 2, 3, 4 hours in the mower repair.
right,
Yeah.
Just put that down as a work order.
Yeah.
More for this many hours.
yeah.
I went up there last Friday and jumped in on him, snuck up on him. You were gone already.
Yeah.
And,
Coffee in the corner.
no, yeah.
Knock first, Robert had to knock to get in today, because
Oh, yeah.
don't even go there.
I didn't have to knock. I walked right in and got to see, had the mower all tore apart, looking at the differential and this and that. That was good.
So, all righty, we better keep moving on here.
Yeah.
Brian's done?
Yep.
Okay, administrative fine ordinance.
Can we back up, Robert? And go to the resolutions for the fire department?
Oh,
Oh, yeah, I would like to know more. I was hoping they were here.
yeah, they're right here, yes. Yes,
So Phil stopped in today and these are, and I can't remember who he said on the fire department, went after these grants. But last year, about a year or so ago, Phil came in and there was a agreement we had to sign with some area cities. You know more about this. The areas with this bigger grant for like radios. And then the fire department had to put in half of it and then it was a matching grant. And the fire department got these grants for their part of that half. To buy them more.
There's organizations like that they donate money to.
Right,
Yeah.
and
To help.
whoever on their fire department, I can't remember who Bill had said,
I think Aaron got that.
that, yeah, there you
Oh,
go, that
okay.
sounds right. Had applied.
I think
for
we
the-
got approved by the DNR grant this year too.
Okay,
That's a 50-50.
maybe that's what they were talking, maybe that's the one he was talking about, the 50-50 match.
So you have the check in hand right now then?
Yeah, I've got the both of them in my office.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2025 of 03 and 04.
John made motion, someone to second,
I'll second.
all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
As long as we buy $5,000. for 10,000 and then they pay half.
Okay.
Okay, administrative fines ordinance. You don't have a place for yourself here tonight.
Clerk's report. She was gone last week.
I was gone last week. You're lucky you got this much in a packet. I was gonna say that I came in Saturday to do this.
You did. I noticed.
did.
My
And I
pack-
was here last Saturday too. I don't know if it will be or not. Last Saturday was because I had to balance a checkbook and do payroll. Or if you go, yeah, used it too. The administrative, those classes I have, I felt like it, trust me. The administrative fine ordinance is one, because of this Mapleton one, I asked, Chris Kennedy to put together an ordinance regarding administrative fines.
Okay,
So that's what you guys have in there.
So this would be the end part after the conversation that we have with Deputy Hagan earlier.
Correct. Yeah, this is something that,
And
I
our,
mean, it's, you guys, I think you should review it to make sure we'll put it together. I think we need to have another, fortunately, another meeting with just the few of the ordinances. Maybe this one, and then make sure that you have what you want in the nuisance one.
yes, I agree.
Before we do that public meeting, I mean, I want to keep going on this because we want to get these done, because then we can start, right now, we're kind of at a limbo. We really can't
do much.
do much with it because we need to get these ordinances that have some teeth in them.
Okay.
So,
All right. How about
Obviously, they're gonna
scheduling
work the
a public
ordinance.
hearing?
If he's the city attorney.
So let's first have a special meeting to go over this ordinance
Oh, okay,
and
then schedule it.
what's the other one we gotta do?
Cannabis.
Oh, Mayor,
cannabis, I think you guys already agreed to the cannabis one, but there were some questions on it, so I don't remember, maybe you didn't, maybe you tabled it.
We tabled it because they were talking about the different
Yeah,
levels. and,
so I think maybe we can do that and we can have the representatives again come out. And then maybe do that and then do the administrative one all in one.
Yeah. That'd be great.
So,
We need to pick a night.
yeah.
Or do you have
not
to
Thursday again,
check
traditional.
check with them first?
Yeah, Thursday was bad, that
So,
agent night.
Did you have to check the cannabis people schedule or whatever?
so yeah, Jim will check with his guys and then.
Yeah, you just gotta let me know what you
Just,
think.
why don't we pick a couple days again?
Here, I'm gonna ask him what day of the week is best for that.
And the Legion meets every,
I never heard back,
it's every Thursday, whatever night we had
but
chose.
it's not every Thursday.
I mean, once a month. On the first Thursday of the month, was it?
yeah,
That's when we were gonna have our meeting, right?
yeah, we were gonna have it May 1st, yeah.
Yeah, so
It's gonna be, so it must be maybe it's the first Thursday of the month?
every month, yeah, first
Okay.
Thursday of every month.
Okay, so
Yeah.
then it's June 5th. So their next one would be June 5th then. So then whatever you guys want to pick.
That doesn't,
How about the 22nd? Otherwise, then we're gonna have to look at, no, I can't do the 20th.
21st?
I could do the 21st. I could do the 22nd.
that here
Of this month?
Tuesdays.
Otherwise, we're gonna have to push that off after Memorial Day,
So
Giving me more information here.
traveling, planning stuff.
what about the 20th? That doesn't work for anybody?
No, I have another meeting that night.
I do too, got fire meeting.
My other council that I'm on.
Thursdays don't work.
So then you're gonna end up.
Punishment.
I know.
Oh, wow. Deputy sent me a couple things since he's left.
It's ours.
No, he said he made contact
Oh,
with
for
the
the
relatives about the cats. The cats are being cared for and they are actively contacting humane societies looking for placement.
Good.
Okay, good. Would the 21st work? A Wednesday? Or Wednesday's bad? Thursdays are kind of bad for you, aren't they normally?
It changes every week.
That's the day before.
We can shoot for 21st.
21st would work better for me. The 22nd, I could make it work, but
21st, let's try for that. get something done.
Yeah, because otherwise we'll probably have to kick it out after Memorial Day.
So, yeah.
How
let's go
early?
for the
Should we May
20th.
21st?
How early can you meet?
Pardon?
How early can you meet?
Well, it can be anytime, I guess. Do we want to do it like 5 or 6 or what?
I'm down for that.
Yeah,
Do 5?
Would you say
Scott,
May
what do you got?
May
21st?
21st, it's a Wednesday.
You have to be at work, Scott, or can you get up early or?
You can get off early.
Want to do it like at
And
5 o'clock then and
We'll see what Jim comes back with.
you were thinking somewhere earlier?
21st about 5?
Time wise,
Yeah, 5, 6.
5 might be early for them, but we'll.
well, we could meet at that first
Well, that's true. You could do the administrative one
and
first and then
then
end
they
with
could
that
show up
one.
at 6 o'clock or whatever.
Okay.
Do it like that.
Put it down, then we'll just go. I mean.
What time do you want to go
at
with that? Do you want to go 5?
5 with the ordinance
First and
one and then
6 for the cannabis.
6
We'll
with
just do
cannabis.
5 o'clock and then we'll just roll from one to the other.
Yep,
And if they can get here before
yep,
6, we'll just call it. Okay.
yep.
All right.
Perfect.
Alrighty, new business. We ready for that? Insurance review? Or do you have some other things?
Yes,
Sue?
nope, we're there. Just the insurance, for their property damage and stuff for the property insurance for the League of Minnesota Cities. M&M wants me to have you guys just review it to make sure you have the right information. Here,
I looked at this, I believe, last.
You did?
year.
I don't know,
I think so.
Okay.
I've looked at this one before.
okay.
Yep.
They're all
Yes.
be good,
I don't know the values. I
but
would
as long
guess.
as these are the right trucks. Yep, we should be good, okay.
We don't have the new generator on at the lagoon here. We have the generator for the fire station and generator for the water tower, but we do not have the new generator for the lagoon on here.
We don't have the, is that pumping thing on there too?
Generator 340.
Oh, the portable one?
No, the,
What is that?
Oh, you mean
Let's get the
the,
fire.
the metering thing?
yeah,
The pumps and meters, well, the pumps got put in the city shop all winter long. They
Like
just
information for that,
in the spring.
Could you get that?
but if something happened to the shop here and there,
Yeah,
And the generator that's out at the lagoon?
There's an, it's not on here,
no,
I can make a model.
so we need to put that,
so I will let them know, all right?
because that could be hit by lightning sitting out there at
Correct.
the lagoon. And, the tank is owned by Lake Crystal, I believe.
Crystal Valley.
So they take care of their liability insurance for that.
Brian Human be like, can get the spec information, get it.
Yeah, get the information and then I'll get it over
Why
to
not?
M&M. All right, perfect.
And then, the tractor, street sweeper and the lawnmower, none of that is listed. Does that just fall underneath the, building insurance? Since it doesn't have a license plate?
I don't remember how that worked last year, because we did. It should be just a carryover from them from last year.
I would
This is
think
what,
so.
this is what we had last year, so.
Yeah, but see that, none of that stuff was on there. If the street sweeper burned up, we'd want to be reimbursed,
Yeah.
reimbursed. The lawnmower. We have a portable generator that we pulled behind the tractor until the lagoon, so we have that there, that in reality now that could probably be sold. We have no use for it anymore.
We need to see if an itemized list is covered.
Pardon?
We have to get an itemized list to see if it's all covered or.
Well,
Well,
that even to see if we need that portable pump, but yeah.
I mean, we should
Yeah, we-
make sure that the
Some of the big-
equipment in the shed is covered, like Brian pointed out today. We bought a generator, we bought a backpack, blower. And we,
Some of that's gonna be covered under your general, like.
yeah, that's what I was
miscellaneous,
wondering, but
an Umbrella
Right.
that covers like $8,000 worth of, which would cover all your small things.
yeah, but the tractor and the street sweeper,
Right,
that
right.
would not be covered and the lawnmower. So we need to make sure that gets listed. The only thing under that one is the international truck and the 454 that's
Yeah.
the two city shop things and the rest doesn't in there.
Right, you see it.
That's a ladder truck.
And then this, why is this on the second sheet, off sale liquor store? 15,800.
I asked her that, and she had a reason for that. Oh, because of the fire department. Does their,
The gambling.
yep, the gambling.
Hold on.
That's why, because I asked her that, because I said, we don't have an off-sale liquor store.
I remember, I think we asked the question last year too, because it came up last year too. But yeah, it is for the gambling for the fire department.
Okay, maybe under that sewage disposal plant, maybe that generator would be covered under that down there?
It's so covered.
Well, I think we need to
Oh, this is-
list it.
Yes, no, this is payroll.
Oh, yeah, there you go. With all payroll. Yep, my bad. So there's a few things we need to ask.
Okay, yep, I'll ask them.
All right. Miscellaneous business? Was there anything else?
Mileage reimbursement.
I have new business. I was just wondering, a friend had brought this over, for lawn mowing. I know is Bob still gonna mow lawn or Ellen?
Eli, I think is.
Gonna be able to do it all?
Picking it up for a while. I don't know.
Yeah, once I get too busy, I think we'll have to get some help at some point, but.
Okay, well, Avery Bergman is starting a lawn mowing business and he just wanted to make sure that we have his business card and
Sure.
stuff up here for when you need help. So I know it's been Kellen and Bob in the past, so.
Bob's retired, but Kellen did a superior job last summer.
Yeah.
He really jumped in and took care of business.
Okay,
He did very well. How much do we need him now with the new individual?
maybe not.
Nobody knows yet.
Yeah, time will tell.
So. What else did you say, Sue?
Okay, the mileage reimbursement, I'll make a
Mileage
motion to,
Oh,
I'll make a motion to approve that. It's
Second.
for bank and then the round trip.
Motion
Mileage.
been made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion carried. Miscellaneous, anybody? I've told you all my miscellaneous. Oh, we didn't talk about the, what Sue did here with all the garbage. Did we, John, you maybe have a little input? Should we make the refuge, should we make that solvent? Should we take it out of the general and make it solvent?
I think we should. I talked to Sue briefly before the meeting started. I think I'll be gone the rest of the week, but next week I'll come up and talk to her and we can have something, maybe so we can clear it up by June.
Yeah, because it would take a long time to pay that debt down even with our increase.
Right.
Just think to make it look better when the auditors come out. We
Yeah.
just pay it down like we did some other stuff. And then it's zeroed out. And then from this point, we'll be able to know if we're charging enough.
Right.
So,
And I think for this one, we should be able to just do it so we zero it out. That's
Yep.
whatever that negative balance is.
Yep.
Surrounding column. Otherwise.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, because if he's gonna make it solvent, that would help. We are already.
Be under.
You look at what the area towns are, we are cheaper. Our garbage.
As soon as we bring up the garbage rates going up, there'll be chatter again and,
well, they're already up.
Well,
oh, I'm just
we're
saying.
about $1 more a month than than.
I was gonna say, we're, yeah,
We're a little bit higher.
we're a little higher, yeah.
We're a lot lower on our water.
Oh,
And I guess this bottom part of this page would be for Eli. He's
Yeah.
on duty and there's a fire call. I know it's happened before, but I believe when Jake was on,
And
he
Brian.
just continues
He just
on
goes,
the clock.
yep, yep. And he texted me last time, he just texted me and said he's on fire call, and then at least I know if there's, if we need him or something, I know where he's at.
Yeah.
Most fire calls are maybe 45 minutes, especially a daytime call, but that one was, we had a delayed on scene time.
It doesn't matter anymore because we're fortunate that you took this position because of Good Thunder being short of daytime firefighters and rescue people. So we're very fortunate for you to be in the city limits 5 days a week and everybody else is working. So, yeah.
Works out in the end.
And I just wanted to say the spring cleanup came in at $879.
And it was
For the disposal and everything?
two full dumpsters, huh?
2 full dumpsters. The dumpsters were like $281 for the 230 yard.
Wow,
And then, cause I just got the one for Minnesota Waste Processing.
that's
So yeah, for both
cheaper
of
than
them,
I thought it was.
it was
gonna
under
be.
$900.
Good.
Wow, that just seems like.
I thought it was weird too, but remember when you looked at the bill and then I double checked it. I was like,
Yeah,
yeah, that's what it was.
I thought in the past they were like
They were 30.
$2,500 to do that.
I'm sure the curbside's probably gonna cost us a little more because you're gonna have the manpower, but
Right.
And speaking of that, should we run one of them at the end of June? So we can, when we get this, this thing here in order, that, they've
Yes.
had an opportunity to clean up their property?
Yes,
Yep.
for sure.
oh, I think so. We started it. We better keep on it and there's no excuses then.
No, we
Okay.
did only set aside $1,000 in your budget when we
Well-
budgeted for this.
You know what?
But then we put $1,000 into, so we have in the chart of accounts, there's 2 spring cleanups. One's on the general fund side, the other one's on the refuse side. Our auditors tell us to use the one on the
General
general fund. So there's gonna be that extra $100 or $1,000 refuse side.
We better not make that even, John, until we get that done.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, I mean, it's all gonna go towards the general fund. It'll go against on the general fund anyway, so
And we had.
if you guys wanna schedule something or.
600 some.
I would think you could take and somebody call LJP, see which Saturday would
We're
work
gonna
for
do it on-
them.
We'll do it, I'll give them a call and see what we come up with on a Saturday in June.
Yes, before July. So then these
We
people,
wanna know, let's see, when is the next meeting?
if they watch the meeting tonight, know is that we're gonna work at cleaning up some yards and they'll have another opportunity to get rid of it free of charge.
Yep, and then we'll do the curbside on a Saturday.
And
I
then
actually want to look after 4th of July weekend.
I mean,
After the 4th?
I don't know.
Right.
It doesn't matter, I guess.
Half the summer's gone already then.
Well, we'll see
Yeah.
what LJP has open.
Yeah.
When you ask them to find out if we're gonna have this cleanup and it's gonna be curbside, you're gonna, hopefully they can put some stuff out on Friday and then part of the day then on Saturday. What would pickup be on Saturday? Can you ask them?
It's, yeah, wasn't it? Like,
Is it gonna be 3 o'clock in the afternoon? Is it
no, I
gonna
don't think
be?
so. I think it's
Well,
gonna go out there
yeah.
Friday night.
Yeah, it better be.
Cause I
out.
know that when I first moved down here, you guys were doing that. I think that was the first you guys did the curbside. And, or last year maybe you guys did.
I
it.
think they had a week to put out.
And they would put it out because then all of our junk guys would go around and get all the,
Yeah.
get all the metal out of it.
Metal and the, yeah.
So we'll do a, I'll ask. them
Treasure
for a
hunting.
time. Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Anything else under new business?
Yeah.
We don't even have new business. Do we?
Yeah, there was.
It was before miscellaneous.
Yeah, the administrative, no, that was unfinished.
Oh, there we go.
We had the insurance review.
I think we've covered everything tonight, haven't we?
I think so.
Would somebody like to make a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Someone a second?
I will second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, one carried. Thanks, everybody. Brian, you keep looking at that